right, everybody. Welcome back to Subverted Subversions, episode 19. As always, I have with my guests, my co-host. What am I talking about? I'm getting ahead of myself. Jesse Larkins, how's it going, man?
What's going on, everybody? Happy to be back. Happy to stare down the void at hermaphroditic covens.
That's right. We're gonna piss on all the hermaphroditic covens.
Just like, fuck, dude. I'm like, did that land?
Yeah. But who's doing the pissing? That's always the question. Well, our line drawer today is none other than the author of the famed Give Up the Ghost. P.C.M. Christ, how's it going, man?
Good, fellas. Thanks for having me on, man.
Dude.
Yeah, very, very excited to have you on. Definitely.
Bro, we were so excited. We've been talking about this for a while, but like, I think the first chain reaction was like we went on to Isaac Simpson to talk about shit, and then like you did a thing to get on Isaac to talk about what we were talking about. So now this is like the actual reply.
Yeah.
Welcome to postmodernism.
So
yeah, it was a great dialogue that was kind of going back and forth between our everyone's shows and stuff.
yeah, and just
yeah, man. I think the future of right wing art, which is back on the timeline today. So
oh really?
we should
what's
probably
going
figure
on?
something out pretty soon.
Oh, was it the thing that you retweeted?
With Rufo and them.
Yeah.
I think Oren kind of started it, but Rufo's the one that blew it up.
Wait, what was it?
Talking about right wing art versus like the patronage network with right wing billionaires, and why that's not a thing. Rufo's back to recommending Panda Express almost.
Panda Express. That's. I mean, yeah. I mean, we can start getting because I wanted to theory sell, because there's all these things that got me just tripping about right wing art in general. Like, why isn't it bigger? Like, what's wrong with the system? I think there was something because a lot of people are like, oh, you need to like be your own guy or whatever and do, but like, I know you're an anime fan too. There's no Japanese artist on Twitter who is trying to write hype tweets so they can get retweeted. All right, that doesn't happen, and they're all kicking our ass too, right? Everybody knows anime is better than like Western art nowadays. So
anything.
so it's like, what's the difference, And that's something I always think about a lot.
Yeah. No, I mean I've got some thoughts on if we want to go there for sure.
Yeah, let's
drop
it.
it.
I think that's kind of the way forward.
Yeah, let's get into it.
Well, like I posted recently, like I'm reading this is tangential, but I'm reading like a wuxia book. If y'all have ever read wuxia, like
It's like
Legends
Chinese
of the
stuff,
Condor
right?
Heroes. What's up?
Yeah, it's like Chinese stuff, right?
Yeah, it is, but it's like old, right? It's almost like early 1900s, 1940s, like pulp, right?
Yeah.
The reason I say that is because like it was also all serialized. And so I've gotten kind of a different take on, like a different view or a different look into sort of East Asian serialization. I think that's where it starts, right? Like as far as the appeal, because well, you have the visual elements, right? Like which like even back in the day, like when like Marvel was like kind of good, like where it was fun because it was exactly that. It was a fun, like you walked out and you're like, damn, there was some action. Maybe there's a little bit of sadness, but there's a lot of laughs too. And anime is really good at running that gamut, that gauntlet. But with the visuals, the story arcs, and the serialization, it's kind of everything about East Asia is kind of made for the internet at this point. Like Japan was basically the first postmodern country, and I think that internet brain can keep up with it. The general aesthetics are powerful. Like John Cinder, he just recommended me Mushishi. If y'all have seen that, do you know that one?
Oh yeah, I love that.
Yeah, it's great, but it's also like totally antithetical. It's the antithesis to internet brain.
Yeah, it's super
yeah,
meditative.
literally. And it's not even like the slow, like it has good stories, and it's for it can't cringe if you haven't seen it.
I
It's
have no idea
basically an
what this is.
anthology, and the
Okay.
only thing that it has any connection is like one main character. He's just walking through the countryside, and Mushi are sort of this like underlying life force that can go awry and cause problems, like supernatural problems for people or locales. And he just walks around kind of solving problems and like restoring balance to nature. But
Okay.
really, really big on the on the liminal spaces stuff. Like literally, I mean, it'll just pause and watch a creek, you know what I mean, for 20 seconds. Um,
Okay. And
so
that's like
that one probably not as appealing. But yeah, I think it's just everything about it's geared towards serialization, huge arcs, you know, visuals, emotional extremes. You know, like is there anything more intense than like hearing like a Japanese voice actor scream? I don't think so.
yeah. They just scream their fucking powers or whatever.
Dude, for real, they're letting it out, man.
It's so passionate.
It's something extra for sure.
Yeah, it's
Well, yeah.
interesting. Yeah, go on, Jesse.
Well, I was just gonna, as a throwaway, just gonna say, like, as a teenager, I would like personally seek out on YouTube like rewatching like my favorite like scream moments because they're so effective.
Get the
Oh hell yeah,
AMVs
dude.
going.
Or even like
Say that again.
the who was it? Goku's. I think it was the English actor though. Goku's voice actor like passed out when he like went Super Saiyan or something.
Yeah.
I think I remember.
Badass,
Yeah,
dude.
here.
Well, like
Yeah.
what else inspires even the voice actors to go that hard? Honestly, I mean, you know, I mean, I know we're not like being super profound here, but like really, like what takes anyone to that extreme? You know, I think I tweeted it like
Mm.
arguably like anime is like just Japan like expressing their PTSD over and over again, but we're all reaping the benefits.
Well,
That's how I feel.
I don't know if
You're
this
right.
is
I mean,
necessarily true, but it feels like Western art is like kind of more reserved. Like if you see
yeah,
any like Eastern shit, they're like, oh yeah, we have like tentacle hentai, feet porn or whatever, and it's just out there. But like Western people, I feel like are just like, no, that's too like weird. You can't just like just have your shit out there, you know. That's what
Right.
it feels like.
It's because we haven't been hit by an atomic bomb.
Yeah, yeah, we
right.
got
But
nothing left to
well,
lose.
here's what I was just thinking. I was wanting y'all's opinions on it, man. Is because like you know you have the like Puritan background of America and all that, right? You know the
Mm.
whole well we're good with violence but not sexuality stuff.
Hmm.
But why did no compared to the atomic bomb, right? Why did no good art come out of 9/11?
Shit, that's a good point.
If anything,
Fuck.
it killed transgressive fiction like in its spot from
Absolutely.
from what I
Absolutely.
gather.
I can see it. Yeah.
Because people like Chuck Palahniuk and Bret Easton Ellis, main figureheads of the transgressive fiction movements or whatever. Yeah, they definitely describe being stopped in their tracks, like basically once 9/11 hit, like all their current projects at the time were just like became persona non grata at all the major labels and shit.
Yeah.
And then as far as like cinema goes, it's like the only like reactionary cinema that we got from that was basically like Americanized torture porn, which wasn't very interesting.
Right. Right.
Like the Saw
Hostile.
movies and shit. Yeah, yeah. I mean, like the first Hostel, has like interesting shit in it, but yeah, it's like yeah, I don't know. As far as like call-in responses to a major,
Yeah.
altering cultural shift or something, it's like we didn't produce much of great content afterwards.
I would
No.
I would say that it birthed the form of like the terrorist villain, where like every villain is like a terrorist, and you also had like it's kind of an outgrowth of 9/11, but like the stuck in the Middle East kind of video games. Like what was the one that was about like just dying? Fuck. I don't know if you know what I'm talking about, but there was like this video game where like it was you were playing as a military op, but like you were supposed to feel bad that you were shooting these people. I forget what the name is,
Oh
but it
no.
but it was like white phosphorus. Or let me see if I can Google this real quick. Video game about war bad white phosphorus. But like you were like the whole entire Spec Ops: The Line. That's what it was. I don't know if you remember that. But the whole entire point of the game was you're supposed to stop playing this because like you're doing Middle East war shit. So that's what it was.
Turn off our game
Yeah.
immediately.
But other than that,
That's
like
crazy, man.
we've kind of veered off from that because I think there was a very time in the 2010s where it was all terrorists, Middle East war, but now like entertainment has kind of gotten away from that. It's like there's more colors, right? Everything is classic superhero, whatever.
Hmm.
Yeah, yeah. Well, that I mean, shit, dude. It's obvious. Like, I just realized we're like 25 years away from that. That's crazy.
Exactly.
Well, that's
So
like the
fucking
thing.
old.
I think, dude, where I'm getting up there, bro. But like, I think like something too is, and I don't know, a bomb and like losing the emperor as a figurehead is a bigger deal than 9/11, arguably.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I think I don't know. I haven't decided anything on how it affects art, but I do think that from what I've seen, like I wasn't very old when it happened, but I like old enough to kind of remember the flashbacks. But it seemed that up until that point, Americans, because this is right afterwards, I think is when you get Jon Stewart and Colbert, right?
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
Americans were kind of like, hey, this is like when you get the action stuff, like we're the good guys.
Right.
And 9/11 happens, and I think this is when we lost our balls, honestly. Like 9/11 happens, and all of a sudden people like, you can see immediately how this eventually transforms into like white guilt. Everything that we've gone through is it's kind of like, if we're so good, then how could someone possibly do this?
Hmm.
Rather than being like, hey, these people are crazy, right? And like blaming them, it was kind of like, wow, we must have done something really bad. Or at least that's how it was framed in the media.
Yeah.
Mm.
And then you get kind of the right, like that's when it gets impotent, and then you get the 9/11 and like the Iraq War, and then everyone kind of loses and support entirely. But that's maybe that was it. Like maybe the only thing that could come out of it was sort of like a crippling self not even self awareness, self consciousness.
Mm.
Yeah. Any ideas of genuine military intervention just kind of gets reduced down to you just want to shoot countries full of poor brown people.
Right.
Yeah.
It's like actually we might have some
That,
legitimate grievances and possible reasonings for maybe doing this.
that's why we can only attack white people now. That's why we're taking Greenland. That's our only military intervention option left.
Because it's politically correct.
The new
Yeah.
Middle East.
We can't do that other shit. We gotta get some. I guess China or something. We have to get it because of China.
It is
Oh no.
funny how in the wake of these things you kind of get shows like Homeland, which are like pretty decent and like properly propagandistic in certain ways.
Right.
But and like actually have like a long legacy to them. But then now any cultural remembrance of that show is to deem it as racist. So it's like wow, it's like, was it really that reactionary? Not really. But even something
Mhm.
like that, which just seems to have like normal American values, is now deemed completely intolerant.
Well, what was that? There's like I think it's usually considered a boomer show. What's his face? It was like it was Kiefer Sutherland.
24. Is that what you're talking about?
No, it was
Oh,
a wasn't it, was it Jack Reacher, like his version?
yeah, shit. Yeah,
It was like
forget.
I remember it was like a post. I think it was Kiefer Sutherland. It was like a post 9/11 attempt at, like, the man who's the bulwark against terrorist acts, right? Sort of like a Tom Clancy thing.
Yeah,
No,
yeah,
was
yeah,
it
yeah.
that?
And
Was
it
it
was
that
a
24?
long, it was a
Or am I
long. Oh,
tripping?
24. That's what it was. I think it was 24. Wasn't it?
That's
Because that,
Yeah.
yeah.
yeah, yeah.
Okay,
And
yeah,
it's like the bulwark against everything outside our borders, right?
yeah.
Yeah, I remember
And
watching a
so
couple of those episodes. Like every week, he would just like shut down some different fucking brown terrorist. It's pretty epic.
no, but it's just interesting that now we're like boomer slop versus like, hey, this is kind of like we get it because it was meant to be propaganda,
Mm.
but maybe they had a point there. I don't know. I didn't
That's
watch
where
it.
we've
I'm
come.
just saying. Yeah, the last right wing art that actually existed was xenophobic.
Was 24? Was Jack Whiskey Brazilian is 24?
Mm-hmm. I
I
think
Well,
that's
yeah,
it.
like in the Americans, shows that like were blatantly like calling out like communism and things that like could be generally agreed upon by most people as being bad. Yeah, now is just it's all become a middling gray. We can't, there's no black and white. There's just the gray, guys. So
That's,
True.
I mean, that's kind of something. I mean, this isn't really like this is kind of like going on a tangent, but that was kind of something I wanted to ask you about because I had just have this theory where I think Isaac last time asked me like, what's the difference between left wing and right wing, or why does right wing people own art? And I think I gave an answer with like, one of them was like boys could turn into girls, but that was like kind of superficial. But um, after thinking it through, I have this theory, which is that leftists are fundamentally the color gray, and right wing people are fundamentally the color black and white. And what I mean by that is they both produce gray, but because leftists aim for equality, it's like the same gray. Whereas if you're trying to produce gray from like a binary point of view where like things clash against each other, that in turn creates contrast, which is black and white. And I think fundamentally black and white
Mm.
contrast is more interesting than like trying to smush art onto the like this massive gray like
Right. Right.
miasma. So I don't know what your thoughts are on that. This is just
No, no, I like it, man. I like it. I mean, I think the hard part is, I mean, and leftists have to subscribe to this. Like, I'm really into the postmodern stuff, right? I mean, I've been
okay.
espousing right wing postmodernism for a long time. But ultimately, and just for short, and just to put it out there into the world, like my term for left wing postmodernism is reductionism. Right? It's they are the reductionists, what people think of as like the postmodernists,
mhm.
Mm.
in my mind. And I think that what does go along with it, I mean, I totally agree. I like the analogy. Um, I think that you're right in that the right is, and this is why it's sexy, man. Like the right is most interested in articulation.
Mm.
And the further you go, whether it's, like articulation of the body, right? Whether it's, and there's, pitfalls to all of this, but articulation via discrimination, right? Like one thing you learn, like everyone says, like, oh, as you get older, then people become more conservative, right? And as a, I'll put it out there, I'm not a conservative, like at
Let's
all.
go. Fuck
I'm right
conservatives.
wing, but I'm not a conservative, bro. But people say, oh, you become a conservative. No, you don't. You become more right wing. And why do you become right? If you're a good parent, which is why I truly despise leftist parents. And that is
Yeah.
because as a parent, because you are raising a new life, you are forced to literally at every level, and it doesn't even have to be any of the isms, but you are forced to discriminate. Right? What food am I willing to feed my child? Right? What shows, right? Who am I going to let them be around? What words am I going to teach them? What are my priorities, right? So you articulate everything in their life as far as, as applying to this person who you are attempting to foster and shape. And whereas that's why I would mention the leftist ones where it's the in-group, out-group thing, like where you decide, like, oh yeah, the world at large is more important than my kid. There's like some lady at the ICE protest that put it on TikTok or something. I just saw it scrolling. Um, where she said like she's taking her baby with her to the protest because her baby's not more important than any other. And I was like, now okay, we're not even in the same conceptual universe, bitch.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like my baby, my kid's more important than your kid, and I actually like your kid. You know what I'm saying? Like I don't want any harm to come to your kid, but mine's more important than yours is. And so I think, and there's great opportunity for art with that approach to where you
Yeah.
admire, where you are, if you're willing to abandon the lump, right? Like the yeast, to where everything is. And it is at this form, it is postmodernism, right? You know, okay, all you have to do, here's the gray, man, here's the gray cringe. You're exactly right, which is here's a spectrum. Everything is a fucking spectrum.
And also
But
like
then like they
the
have
idea
the
that
the like
your
my
kid
bad,
is
one
equal
last time,
to
man.
their kid.
Yeah.
That's great, right?
Say that
Like they
again.
the idea that your kid is equal to their kid. That's great. That's like that's not true. You like
Yeah,
your kid more.
exactly.
Right.
You should.
I'm
Like
sorry.
being willing to lump your kid in on every level. And that's the thing, is I don't think people think enough about like the macro micro of the whole thing. You know, like when you hear discrimination, you think of one thing, right? When you hear the gray area, it's like, no, literally, it's like, you know, if you don't articulate, this is my child. Like, if
Hmm.
that's the only thing that it means is it's mine, therefore I have to like pay for it, but you're forcing yourself to believe there's no difference, then like you're on a road that just doesn't go anywhere good.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree that the discrimination is inherently a good thing actually. um, and yeah, leftists are just you know um, inherent deconstructionalists, and can just they'll live in the subjective truth, live in the gray, and pick something apart until it's absolutely meaningless and has no value to it. And black and things of discrimination, things of like clear black and white intent, it doesn't, yeah, it doesn't favor that at all.
Well, do you mind if I ask you? I don't want to like direct the conversation, man, but do you mind if I ask y'all something?
Yeah, sure. Go
Like,
ahead,
Yeah.
bro.
Yeah.
like I really, really want your thoughts because, like, y'all are interested in subversion, right?
Yeah.
Hmm.
Um, and I may be misunderstanding exactly how you would mean it, and I mean, I would love to talk about it, but in my mind, because you're right that leftism is deconstructionist, right, in its nature, but I would argue that it's deconstruction with a specific aim and ethos behind it. So, in the same way that you can kind of watch like Soviet movies and kind of you automatically picked up like dialectics, like it's necessary because of the system of thought that they're coming from. I think that reductionist deconstructionism could always end up where it is, right? And this is like what I'm talking about. This is why I wanted to hear you. Like this is a huge project of mine, like just mentally even, where and if we can disagree too, please tell me.
Sure.
I do believe that, and it started with science, but I do believe that deconstruction was right in that, and everything that the right starts with is biological reality, and that's where everything has to start if you want, truth
Right.
to a degree, a version of it. But I think that the deconstructionists were correct. And I think that all of our narratives that people adhere to and consider culture, and I'm not even saying, not one's not better than the other, right? I'm not discriminating here. I'm saying that the commonality among all of them, and the reason we are in the situation that we are in now, is that they were conceived in isolation, right? And so when the deconstructionists say, no, we are dealing with constructs of meaning, when they say that no, everything is a narrative, and we cannot deny the power of said narrative, right? But why are we all going through existential hell right now? It's because the collapse of narrative, collapse of cultural narrative. And I would argue, and I mean, like I said, I've been doing this for years now, that the rights, especially in art, but theory as well, is the right has never engaged with postmodernism as it was. It doesn't have any, conservatives certainly don't have any answers. And so the only real way forward, I think, is to do exactly what the leftists did, but to start from a different place. And part of that place is to like yourself, right? The leftists, under the deconstruction of science, the left decided that we are all just, mindless monkeys, and they went the Rousseau route, right? So is, hey, all these narratives are just getting you away from this original village. Whereas the right wing take is, it is a glory for me to be alive. And so I think deconstruction's value was really like my short point. But especially regarding art, I think we have to start there.
Well, you
Not
want to
even
take it,
explicitly
Jesse?
from the right, but not from the left.
So can you kind of summarize the kind of the main point, I guess, like that you'd like us to respond to? Because
My bad. Too broad. My bad.
it was. I mean, I was following it, but I guess I'm not sure where I would start.
Sure. Basically, the existential crisis that Western civilization is going through is due to the collapse of narrative, and that I believe that deconstruction via postmodernism's beginnings identified why it collapsed the narratives, but identified why those narratives are collapsible, and that we obviously need new narratives, but to construct them, I think we have to start at the fact that deconstruction is real, is right, is correct.
That yeah. I mean,
And my bad if I'm going too far. Like I said, I've thought about this for a long time, so maybe I'm not even like, being
Let
clear
me.
enough.
I'll just fill in while
it's
Jesse's like thinking, unless you got a point.
no. Go ahead, because
Yeah.
I'd like to
Okay.
kind of think about it for a sec.
I think I will. Okay. Yeah. I think I agree, and I think because I mean I'm religious, so I grew up through it. I'm more right wing, whatever. Um, there's a lot of things that right wing people just don't admit, and I think like the whole deconstruction, like whether or not it was necessarily completely true through empirical evidence, it was right for its time, and it was true. They were like saying things that were like were true for their time. Like maybe I don't know, shit didn't need to be as strict or legal. I find like the right wing just won't admit sometimes that like shit is cool. Basically, like this is what I'm feel like. I guess recently you also saw the Amelia thing, right, on the
Mm-hmm.
Twitter, and it's like,
Yeah,
yeah,
great.
I've kind of been saying this for years. Like, yeah, e-girls are hot, bro. Well, like for years, right? No, it's only the trad girl. Like, are you crazy? Still now, like, what are we
Right.
doing here? Like, just admit that this shit is hot. You don't have to necessarily say that this is the best thing ever. That everybody should do this all the time. But like, I don't know. Like, right wingers just don't want to accept simple truths that like everybody can see when it's like immoral. It's like extreme purity spiraling, I guess. You know. So that's like,
Right.
and I feel like that's the left's problem now is their purity spiraling on their side, right? Where it's like, oh, you can't be racist, you can't blah blah blah, you can't blah blah blah, right? And my whole thing is like, the right wing, if they could just only like get their heads out of their fucking asses and
Quit
just like,
moralizing.
yeah, and
Yeah.
also like it's funny too because if you think about it from a traditional sense, like leftists are like traditionally artists, right? Like in the whole
Right.
how and what do right wingers do? Do they like do the trad thing and try to be like a left winger? They're like, no, I'm gonna make up something completely new. I'm gonna do something that has never worked before. I'm gonna make God Man, and God Man is gonna kill Satan Man. Yeah, it's like, boy, I wonder why your shit sucks, bro. You know?
Yeah, I feel like right wingers, conservatives, they want to uphold traditional narratives. They still have faith in them, and there is kind of a beauty in that because those things are under constant attack and pressure, and you know if the deconstructionists were right in a regard, it's that it was by helping establish the fact that you know we should try and find comfort in like new inventive narratives and try to keep pushing forward as opposed to relying on as opposed to relying on these more kind of standardized narratives that don't serve the purpose that they do anymore.
That's interesting. Yeah, I mean, I think that's the interesting thing too is like the sort of because I make a and I'm not arguing with y'all on semantics. I'm just talking about like when ideologically, intellectually I think about it. Like
Mm.
conservatives and the right wing to me are like completely different things at this point, and I think conservatives have definitely even like back in the day, like Manson's kind of thing, right? Like Marilyn Manson was like directed like explicitly at conservatives, right?
Yeah.
And that was because the far right, as you knew, it was sort of dead because it was killed off with all the Nietzschean movements, if you will, of like the early 20th century, right?
Yeah.
So here's kind of the question, and I myself, I don't know, I don't even want to call myself this because it sounds lame, right? Like I'm heretically Christian. I'll put it that way
Sure.
at this point.
Okay.
But when you talk about like when you're talking about King, like with the narratives that sort of die, right? Like God man versus devil man, right? And like Jesse, when you talk about the storylines, like the trad lines, like the thing I ask myself though, and we can go to another topic anytime y'all want, man. I'm just being
Oh, this is
selfish because I
awesome.
wanted to hear what
No,
y'all
it's
thought.
okay. That's why you're here.
This is what we wanted to talk about.
But
Yeah.
like, hell yeah. Like the question is like, are like they're not generative anymore,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
that's like the problem. Like there's like you can't I say this, man, like you are not going to be I'm married, right? I'm pretty happily married. Like I got lucky. But I mean, dude, you're not gonna be able to convince Gen Alpha, even if their parents are married. Like, hey man, like much less Zoomers, right? Like everyone's black pilled on women more than anything else.
Mm.
So then if you look at like I wrote my follow up to my essay Cthulhu Turns Right, which is where I really sort of started investigating these ideas. It's called post. It was like a sister essay. It's called Post Heresy, or How I Learned to Stop Worrying and Love the Absolute End of the World.
Let's go.
And I think that is this. I mean, it's a good conversation to have because I know, Cringe, you said at least like you're sort of traditionally Christian, and
Yeah.
I'm not here to argue about that, right? I'm just saying as far as it within the context of art and narrative, if something is no longer generative, here I'll just lay out my broad macro thing. I think there are universal truths. I think that cultures, generally speaking, sort of the things that last arrive at those, but like within different context. And I think that art is responsible for updating those truths with each zeitgeist.
Hmm.
That's my general sort of thing. That's
I
just a
can see
natural
that.
process.
Yes, that seems fair.
Yeah.
So
I don't.
so if we need to go ahead, man, go
Oh
ahead.
well, I guess like to get into a religious debate. No, I'm just traditional
I
Christian
mean,
because
no, go ahead.
like I just from a moral standpoint, I'm like I don't know how I can like make up my own moral rules. That just sounds weird to me. Like cuz people would just make shit up. So from like a moral stance, I'm like I do the Christian thing. It's God. It's cool. It's fine with me. But
Sure,
for
sure.
like art is kind of like a gun, you know. Like it just doesn't work the way you like Christians dream it does. I guess I'd say. Um,
Sure.
and it's really weird because they just never learn from their mistakes. As you said, like it's not necessarily God man versus Satan man, but what I'm trying to say is like they do the same thing over and over of like, it could be like America guy, like they're trying to bring it to this weird past thing that, as you said, it doesn't generate narratives. It's not forward thinking. It's not new, and it's not like
Is
true.
is that why the leftists are their artists though, right? Like to
Yeah,
create new narratives, you have to be subversive.
yeah, yeah. That's true. That's true. That's true.
Or
So
I
willing
think
to not be held to certain traditional or moral standards, maybe to be willing to explore outside the boundaries of what is deemed acceptable.
right.
yeah.
Unorthodox, if nothing else.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah,
Hmm.
yeah. Well, my
Instead
I
of
think I
making
actually
things that are
mentioned this.
defensive.
Well, yeah, because like that's what I was saying. I think like the first time I messaged both of y'all, I was like, I told you about that essay I wrote. Like it was my first ever Twitter thread,
Yeah.
and it was called "The Right Must Become the Left."
Oh, this-
And the
King has basically
conversation
said
that
that so many times.
yeah.
say what?
King has basically said that so many times.
Yeah.
Well, we're talking about this shit for a reason, right?
We all say
Right.
the same thing. Yeah. Like everybody
And
who
I,
gets
I
it
think
gets
that's
it.
yeah. Like the we talked about conservative. I said this in Cthulhu is like anything I consider conservatism. I think that the regime as it is, right? What we consider the leftists, right? Like what Yarvin calls the cathedral. I think
Mhm.
it is so entrenched that anything conservative is conservating that. Is
Yeah.
continuing to conserve the status quo, which is the leftist regime in power. That's how entrenched I think they are. And here I said this with Isaac, Cringe, like you mentioned it earlier when you talk about what makes it right, like what are the right wing narratives. And one of them I said that the right wing the primary right wing narrative is restoration of a deserved but fallen position.
Yes.
And I think that that's why we're powerful right now. I think that's why, like the right wing thought, if you will, is on the come up, is because it's entrenched. And we'll just have to take back all the words, man. Any population that is marginalized is going to have outside narratives. It's going to have subversive elements. It's going to have things to say. It's going to have the power that, like you said, Jesse, is unorthodox, right? It can be sexy. It can be outside of it. And the thing is, the real power, because I remember what was it, like the 2000s, like and people made fun of it, because like it's the same. It was the suburbs, right? But like goth kids, right? Raves, like all the things that are cool, like even in the 2000s when people look back, or they're like, oh, the Zoomers look at the 90s and everything.
Yeah.
They're aesthetic as hell.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And the only real aesthetics that we have right now are beauty, which is inherently right wing.
Yeah.
So, and it starts there. So that's why I get excited about this shit. Is I'm like, I told he wouldn't mind. I told Frazier after he lost that contest, Frazier Payne should have won, by the way. I DM'd him and I told him, I was like, hang in there, man, like, because politics have been formed, right? Like at this point, no one's switching teams.
Yeah.
And so what does that do? Like now, and I really truly believe this, is now is the age of the artist. We had to go through the political turmoil where people had nothing to say, where everything was confusion, right? We went through the technological revolution and everything else. And how it comes out, who the fuck knows? But I do think we are now in the age of the artist because we all have to make sense of this shit. Everything's settled now a little bit.
Yeah.
And to be on the outside, at least for someone like myself who kind of insists on it, I mean, it feels pretty good.
I guess I have this question, which, like, you're right. Like, we need to like subvert, and I'm not gonna say I have all the answers. We're just working through shit, right? So, my inclination is that things have to be true because I don't think that you can subvert everything, right? And so, like, we started like, let's say in
Right.
the 1960s, where um or not 1960s, but like 1990s, as you said, like the goth girls, right? They're like, oh, they put piercings on us and like we dye our hair black, and they're like, see, you can be alt, and it's like it's hot. It's so like the leftist mind is like, I can subvert everything. It's cool, but like the problem is you put like goth makeup on a 10 out of 10 girl. Of course she's gonna look hot, right? Like, but then like
I mean,
if you
she's
try to,
gonna look hotter.
yeah,
Either
but if you like try to do that on like a zero like lard fucking fat bitch, like I mean, you can tell me that you're subverting the traditional and that like it's all a construct, but I don't think so, bro. I don't think you can psyop me
sure,
into thinking a fat girl is hot. So there's like obviously a
right.
ceiling to this subversion limit,
Not
and
even
it's
a
just like
goth one, cringe. Not even a goth one.
yeah. So I'm like, where do we find the line, right? So what's the line between the subversion that works and the subversion that like doesn't
It's
work? You
bullshit.
know, it's
Performativity, I think.
hmm,
You still have to
yeah,
be speaking truth, even if you're subverting, because endless subversion will also just to nihilistic, meaninglessness, and just constant denying of a conventional pleasure, you know, isn't inherently, positive for the sake of subversion. So,
Sure.
um,
yeah. So but doesn't that imply then that there is like a definite truth and there is something that cannot be subverted and it's not all constructs inherently that you can't like we can't generate a new narrative on this because this is like a concrete narrative that's never going to change.
right,
There's
you
Right, but
you
isn't
still
that
have to
biological
uphold.
reality? Like
yeah,
even
Right.
even the fat girl, right? Isn't like I think if we traced it back, and I'm not saying it is, but I think if we traced back everything that's true, it would come back to biological reality.
right. Yeah.
Yeah,
I think
because
that's the
that's not
only truth.
subjective.
Correct. It's the only objective truth in my mind, at least.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, so as long as like everything is kind of I think headed towards that way in terms of biological truth of like just like ground level. Everything else is like play, I think, and everything else can be subverted. Um,
Absolutely.
and that's I think where
Which is
the
like
yeah
huge implications, right?
yeah. But right wingers are like no, or at least conservatives like we're conservatives is gonna be a slur now. And it's like no, there's only this one
Yeah.
straight line. You can only play in this patch of dirt. And
Service
it's just like
shit,
yeah,
like is
and
the internet moniker.
like fuck that noise, dude. I'm so tired.
Well, it's not fun, dude. It's not sexy. Like, and that I think a lot of people have said that, like even coming out of like Dime Square and all that. Like the thing is, like you know, if it's not sexy, you don't get the girls, and if you don't get the girls, then it's not actually a thing.
It's very true. You
And
just
I'm
get
like,
trans
and I'm
people
like, I
now.
support misogyny. I'm just saying, as far as the party goes.
If it wasn't hot, did it even happen?
Basically, no one remembers the sausage fest, man,
Yeah.
for sure.
No.
But that's like, and this is like where we arrive at the void, right? Is I've thought about this long enough that I'm not black pilled,
Mm,
and I will tell you, it's a hell of a time to have children. Um, I talk a lot to friends about Gen Alpha rather than Gen Z because they're the ones I'm more interested in. Not only because my
okay.
kids, but like all the things that conservatives hold dear. And I mean, dude, you're just gonna have to say goodbye to some shit, man. You know, like I teach my kids, like they know cursive. I teach them to read. They're gonna learn certain stuff. I still take them fishing, blah blah blah. But narrative wise, culturally, and most people simply cannot make this leap. I'm just gonna be honest.
Dude.
Is you have to realize that in the same way that Zoomers don't understand a world without a phone, Gen Alpha is not going to understand a world without AI. They're not going to understand a world without the internet. They're not going to understand a world with grandparents who knew, as a kid, knew as much as you believe Google knows now.
Yeah.
And they're simply not, and that's the way the world turns, man. Like they'd have no cultural touchstone, and you're not going to be able to give it to them. No matter what you
Mm.
try to do, no matter if you freaking have your homestead and your jam, there's still a world out there that they're sequestered from.
I feel like the homestead shit is gay, bro. Like we can't all like what we're all supposed to go like buy a farm like milk shit. Like number one, how the fuck am I supposed to get enough money to do that? You know, like
And everyone wanted to leave that. By the way, manual labor sucks ass.
yeah.
Right, the reality of manual labor for the rest of your life. You're like, fuck.
But like this is
Yeah,
the thing.
and
Like
then of course you
yeah,
expect, oh yeah, like my kids, they'll be honored by the work that I put in, just the way I think of my granddaddy who had this land for 17 years. And you know what? It's really romantic and it's nice, but that's not the way. Like most people's lives, even now, like like transport wise, are within like 5 miles, right? But I can't. I've moved too much. But imagine like knowing one place within like a 10-mile radius for your entire life. People, I mean, people experience that. That's insane.
yeah.
And that's a level of like, I don't even know what to call that. All I know is I can't relate, like literally.
No, but you bring up a good point. Like this reminds me, you know about like the whole Sarah Stock thing, right? Um,
Yeah,
I didn't really
yeah.
keep up with her, but like this
I
has made
didn't
me
either. I
remember.
just know about the recent stuff.
Yeah, but basically, if you don't know Jesse, like she was like this trad girl, but then like I guess Milo Yiannopoulos has alleged that like she was sleeping with some dude and having abortions and all this shit, and it's like the right wing problem, like with their homestead dream, is that it's all a fucking fantasy. Okay, it's actually
Right.
the most fantastical thing. Like when we're gonna talk about your book, eventually,
No
PCM, once we
worry,
get
dude.
you
I'm
here.
here
Yeah,
for it,
we're
Yeah,
getting
man.
to it.
but
I'm
like
here for it.
that shit's more real when like you have like real things happening. You know what I'm saying? Like this fucking thing where, again, I keep saying it, but like the homestead, the perfect trad wife, it's all fake. None of it is real, and that's why I feel like their art has no fucking power because there is no grounding in the biology of
But
the reality
let
of
me
like
throw some
life.
shit in here. Let me throw some
Yeah,
shit in
let's
here. You're
go.
gonna love it. You're gonna love it. Why is it though that the life portrayed in anime is so idyllic?
Hmm,
It's there. It's there. My point is the trad thing is it's the same sensibility, but it falls on its ass.
that's true.
So there is an ability, there is something waiting. Maybe it's impossible for the West to present an idyllic life, but arguably it can't come from a right wing spot. Like the Japanese sensibility doesn't come from it comes from an isolationist, sure, isolationism, sure, but it doesn't come. It's not aware. It's not trying to make political statements or differentiations, but it is going towards the idyllic at all times.
I think it's performativity. I think like Japanese people are like, yo, I want to fuck my like, you know, high school, what is it thing?
If
Like they
I
have
could, this is
specific
what she
things.
would
Like
look. This is like the ideal high school teacher to fuck.
yeah, they're very honest. I think in their things. I feel like a lot of right wing people are lying to themselves. Like they got psyop by their favorite right wing commentator that they're supposed to homestead. So like, oh now I like homesteading. It's like, no, you don't. Stop fucking lying to me. Like the people are like, just
Right.
listen to classical music. No, I'm not listening to classical music. I'm gonna keep listening to rap for the rest of my life. Fuck you.
Hell yeah. Chopped and screwed.
Yeah,
Yeah.
the Japanese approach is much more zen and much more embracing of their perversions.
Maybe it's the idyllic is aesthetic. You think that's it? Whereas like a lot of the trads are like the idyllic is moral.
I could
Yeah.
definitely, I could definitely see that.
Yeah, because as you said, like the right wing, the homestead thing is like there's a moral aspect to it, right? Like in Japanese
Yeah.
anime, like it's idyllic, but she'll also like flip up her skirt and show you her panties, right? So
Which is
that's not
ideal.
moral? Yeah, and that's what people want, bro. They just want fucking sex and violence and shit. But we have to pretend that, oh, no, I will only lick your toes, goddess. That's while you bake bread and shit.
Yeah,
So
I think the conflation of the right wing with the conservatives, aka like the moral leftists,
yeah, I
it's
think
just
that's
that's why we're screwed. That's why I don't want Brian Johnson to succeed, dude. I don't want to live under the rate of people that lived for 500 years.
I know this is
I don't
gonna
want to
sound
do it. Can you
Nietzschean.
imagine anything worse? I can't.
I know this is gonna sound niche, but maybe we've hit upon the point that it's like the morality that's fucking like both left wing and right wing morality is like what's constraining art.
I
When
totally agree with you. I just didn't know if
yeah,
we could talk about it since like you're drag Christ. But
it's fine, bro. Like I'm just trying to be real here too. Like I think
Yeah.
like
I
people
think
used to put
so.
these stipulations on art where it's like it needs to be good, it needs to be blah. I think it just needs to be real. If it's just real, like
For
it's good,
sure.
you know. And I
For
think like
sure.
if like some pedophile guy wrote some pedophile art, it's like okay, yeah, maybe we can put him in jail, and maybe I don't know if it probably shouldn't be distributed, but like inherently it may be actually good art. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm not saying it's good, but like it's like technically well done because it was honest to him and his personality at the time.
And
Sure.
it's
I
like
mean, sounding pretty crypto leftist there, man.
We're about to start a fucking Vosh groomer
But no,
sucking.
but that's it. I think
but
you're exactly right. I think we've hit the void, right? That the
Mm,
collapse of narratives left, and I don't think that morality, as was previously good, like virtue, virtue is a way forward. I think.
mm,
Um, General morality, as far as like moral, and I make fun of this in the Gonzo thing. Um,
Mhm.
but like the morality as the way forward, I think has been totally co-opted by woke, and I think that's it, man. Like this is what I'm talking about. Like, oh, like I'm Gen Alpha and I want a wife, and it's like, yeah, but like it literally is the norm in society now to where like dudes have harems because you know what I mean.
yeah.
Like the like
But
like what would people would love watching some like streamer that has like I'm talking like an actual millionaire billionaire type, and we're not advanced enough here, but like think about it. If some streamer has like a harem, right? Morality's out the window. Gen Alpha doesn't
yeah,
care about this stuff,
Mhm.
and he's got a harem, and then he has them do games or he has votes. I mean, there's all sorts of crazy sadistic internet shit you could do, and people aren't going to care because it's the way the world works. You know what I mean? Like I think about this a lot with narratives. Okay, here it is. My little. I haven't actually said this to anybody.
let's
What
go.
what brought me to this realization, like the isolation and the collapse of narratives, was North Korea.
Okay.
I was like, you know what? If you're born into a world, and you can still pick, right? Like you can teach your kids to love your country, you can teach your kids to be virtuous or even moral. But if you're born into the right world, then you can believe in a glorious leader and you can believe in the myths of the rainbows and the peacocks. And I'm not even mocking them. I'm not even mocking them. And if that is your world, and you are that isolated, unless and until you have a counter narrative to consider, that's just the way the fucking world works, man. And that's what
Yeah.
leftists are saying, like, "Oh, blue's not blue. Blue is called blue." Yeah, but then the answer is, yeah, but I call it blue, bitch. Like I call it blue. That's what matters. I don't care what you call it. I call it blue. But you
Mm,
see what I mean? Like North Korea was really sort of my thing where I was like, yeah, man, if you're raised in that world, that's exactly what you think.
yeah, that's the morality of the situation. Hmm. But
Yeah,
I,
that's
I
your
guess
narrative.
I guess my
They-
question is like, okay, should, I think morality doesn't necessarily work in art, but like, should art be divorced from like real life, where like we can have these entertainment things and like just move on with our normal lives? Or are you more explaining for a generative narrative in society in general that art is a reflection of life and that the art will like imprint upon life and that's like the way life should be? Does that make sense?
Yeah, I don't think it can be. I do not think you can go for the whole like universal sort of canon thing, to where they touch upon the human condition and universal truths. But art
Yeah.
can't exist outside of its zeitgeist, man. Like it's the same as Trump. Like Trump's the only generative thing that's happened, but Trump was really, really generative. Well,
Yeah.
actually, Vance is pretty generative now too.
Because I think the way that I keep it straight in my trad head right now is like real life is real life, and I'm just gonna be a normal. I'm not gonna like, I don't know, do drugs or like be weird, but like I can like art. I can just enjoy it and then like throw it away in my head. And like the goal is to make good art, right? Not necessarily to live art as my life. I guess is how I keep it
That
like, yeah,
that is a really, really cool distinction, man. It's very, very cool because um Well, for one, it depends on how, and I think that there is a prerogative to do what you're talking about because it's sort of how far do you want to go into theory, right?
Yeah.
But then on let's like theory, on its head, it's like it's kind of retarded and it's really really fun, but how useful is it? But then you realize that artists intend, sort of, especially the ones that are institutional or make institutional impact so far, eventually kind of get into theory, right? Like there's a reason that postmodern art exists after postmodern philosophy came around. And
Yeah.
and so is it easy to make the decision that you do only because there's no. I was trying to decide if like art versus the internet, how you can kind of like I have my life online, I have my life IRL.
Yeah.
I was starting to conflate the two. I don't think they're the same, but Mishima thought, and I think Bap is actually he's pretty freaking good at it. Like Mishima thought that a thread of purity, like that a purity was, and he thought Oscar Wilde had this, that there was a thread of purity throughout one's art because their life also reflected it. Um, so that's something interesting. Like, can you, even as a challenge to your sensibilities, can
Yeah.
you hold on to the thing IRL that you keep separate from art, or is it possible? Is it even possible for you to draw a line of a thread of purity? I mean, I'm not like coming at you. I'm just thinking that's
No.
something interesting. I think.
I don't know if there's any like easy answers to that because like yeah because things do bleed into each other, right?
Yeah,
Sure.
Yeah.
naturally.
So again, like it's like okay, what's the roof? What's the ceiling of subversion? And I don't know because again, things you do consume do affect you in real life. So again, it's like a simplification, I guess, for me. But um, I don't know
Which
things.
I mean, that might be the answer,
I
right?
don't
Maybe it's
know.
like worth drawing a line.
Yeah, because that's
What do you think, Jesse? I keep
yeah,
talking, man. My bad.
No, just in some, in a lot of ways, it'll never be fully removed from you. It's always going to be informed by aspects of you that you may not even be fully aware of until way down the line. You may think that you're making something that's completely divorced from your life because you need this separation or whatever, but then yeah,
Right.
you look at it later and you go, oh fuck, I was literally just or like it just becomes transparent all of a sudden and you realize like, oh, I was really filtering everything I was going through in my real life into that, even though I thought I was like, you know channeling some escape or something. But yeah, I don't know. And yeah, don't apologize
it's
for talking. You've been making
is
a ton of
is
really
it a
beautiful points.
is it a channeling thing? Like, you know how some people say like the more porn you have, like the rape rates go down and shit like that? Like, is it just like we have all this emotion and if we don't channel it into art, like we're just gonna like kill somebody in real life and really art is like some bandage that we use to not like fuck up our lives?
It's entirely possible, man. I mean, even like just for the point of catharsis, right?
Yeah.
Right.
Like in that, isn't that like the whole like this is why the most evil son of a bitch in the planet is the one who invented infinite scroll? Like that dude's a piece of shit. Like there's no catharsis ever until you're just like, you know what? I
That's
feel
true.
so bad. I'm gonna stop.
Yeah.
And so that might be it, man. Like it's like literally I have to, which I think is why we need art now. Is there has to be some kind of catharsis, otherwise we are screwed. It's like music, dude. If I don't have music, I am done.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
maybe that's what it just gives me enough structure and expression that I can keep moving.
I
But I
did
don't know.
have this theory though that like I feel like a lot of artists are trying to be remembered in the sense that I feel like
Yeah,
they make bad endings. This is just like some weird ass theory, but like I feel like they have make bad endings to their stories because people will remember it more. Because I feel like
you
if you make
think?
something that makes sense, people just forget about it. And I don't know. I had this weird idea that like to become the best artist, you kind of have to be forgotten rather than sticking around and like fucking up some dude because you didn't end the story correctly.
Yeah. George R. Martin's bitch ass.
Yeah, like fuck, like you gotta did it. Like people, I don't know. Maybe they'll remember the ending, but I don't know. I don't know if they'll remember Game of Thrones compared to Lord of the Rings. Probably not.
They'll remember that he didn't give him an ending though. The biggest
Yeah,
flop in American fantasy history.
Yeah, they'll remember getting cucked.
yeah.
Right.
And
Right.
like
I know. I
you get
bought
pissed
the
at that.
special edition set, man, leather bound.
So I don't
Well,
know if
no,
being remembered is like worth it, but yeah.
well, bro, like, see, man, I'm so happy we're having this conversation. Like, we're approaching it different, but it's like it's enriching my world because I had a similar thought. Um, but the way I thought about it, and I think Wallace killed this with Infinite Jest. So God bless him.
Yeah.
I think that especially the postmodernists figured it out. Like once everyone sort of went to college and it was like a general public kind of thing to do, that a lot of writers figured out that if you this is why I avoid references. When I did Book Maggot, my author interview show, I even know if I knew him. I never did any references. Y'all have read my book. There's only one reference in there the entire time, and it's to William Blake, which is made obvious.
Yeah.
But I think a lot of the 70s, 80s, and 90s authors, I think they realized, like, wait a second. Like, the only way to immortalize myself as a writer is to get the academics involved.
Mm.
And I don't know if that's what Joyce was going for, but maybe he's the one that made everyone realize it. The fact that, hey, if I put references in here, if I attach and scholarly interest and tropes throughout my work, I give the scholars something to write about in the future. And I think that
Yeah.
really, I'm serious. I think it drove fiction for a long time, man. And then Wallace just destroyed it. He just went so far overboard. He knew what they were going to do that he just killed it.
Yeah, it's like intentionally making like politically conscious art so that you know that people will eventually, analyze it. They'll like be forced to like make video essays and shit about it.
Yeah. But I guess the
Yeah,
question is
yeah,
like,
or even just like
yeah.
general reference, if you give them something like you have to be a scholar to like, look up my references to like blah blah blah. Actually, Salman Rushdie is the one that made me have this realization when I read Satanic Verses. He had so much shit on, and I know it's central to I don't think he was actually doing it as much, but yeah, there's so many references to Islam that it was kind of like, oh wow, like if I was a scholar, then I could like write books on this. I
Yeah.
was like, oh shit, maybe he did that on purpose.
But is that like good art? Do you find like the stuff where like people try to intentionally immortalize themselves as like good art or stuff that you enjoy?
No, well, I don't think it kills it, right? Like even Satanic Verses I thought was brilliant. I love Infinite Jest dearly. Um so it doesn't have to kill it. I think it's a sensibility, and I also think that I'm accusing people of something.
Yeah.
But it's also decision for myself in that what I'm trying to do, and I really, really kind of articulated this with post heresy and Cthulhu to a degree, is I'm trying to start over. Right. I'm so tired. It's my rebellion against postmodernism, but also to find the truth, to find something new. Where I think that what do we have? What can a work be? And the people will very quickly argue that it's impossible, but I don't give a shit.
Yeah.
Like, what would a work be if you don't have reference, right? And the thing I gave, like, I'm well known online for like being a lover and disciple of William Blake, right?
Yeah.
And my example I gave would be perhaps imagine you're illiterate, maybe, or no, you can read, but you're in like the post-apocalypse landscape, right? There are no narratives. You are simply yourself, right? Back to like the Greeks, right? True subjective experience. This river pissed me off, and it saved me somehow, so I think it loves me, so I'm going to give it a name. It's a really lovely name. And that tree friggin' tried to kill me, so I'm going to name that whole forest where I almost died. I'm going to name it something, right? Like the Greeks, like, right? Like anthropomorphization of regional and locale. But you know how to read for whatever reason, and then you stumble upon the complete poetry of William Blake. Maybe you know your Bible, maybe you don't. It doesn't really matter, right? But if you come upon that work without reference, and I'm interested in this, like with all books, what does it look like? And that
Hmm.
is a fascinating idea to
You
me.
mean like how you process the information, or
Yeah, yeah. Like, I mean, presumably it goes to direct experience, but exactly so. Like,
yeah?
how do you process that? How do you experience something where you don't have a reference point? It has to be transcendental in some capacity.
No, yeah, for sure. Like it's always the things that because people talk about experience in writing, right? People always tell you to, and this is something I've thought about. Like you have to live your life, right? They're like, oh, you can't just sit in your room like writing all day. You have to go out and experience it. But my contention is that you can't. The best experiences aren't the pre-planned experiences. Like all these people, like, what am I gonna do? Like travel to Cancun, and then I'm gonna like get an experience. Like I knew it was gonna happen. Like the most transcendental experiences are, I think, the things that happen to you that you don't expect, and I think those are the
Totally
ones that
agree.
change your life the most. So I don't strive to go live your life. I just live, and then like the shit that needs to happen will happen. I think, but
I agree. Totally.
so
Yeah,
I don't know
you'll
if that answers your
experience
question.
the.
Oh, I'm sorry. You were saying something, Jesse?
No, I was just I think I was agreeing with you, just that you'll experience the randomness and the synchronicities of life, and and that'll definitely provide you with something to say.
Yeah,
Right. Which maybe that's the the appropriate approach to art too. To not,
yeah,
the whole like don't go into it with an agenda necessarily.
yeah. I think it's the lack of, not lack of control, but like once you give control up, like you're not trying to like mangle something together, that's when the best shit happens. At least in my
For
experience.
sure.
But I actually did have a question, kind of related but not, but about your beliefs in writing, because I have this kind of theory, and this might so I it's kind of weird. I don't know how much you believe this, but like obviously when you write a book, you're God, right? And then
Yes.
yeah, okay, we're getting in a good spot. And so I felt like people, I don't know if this is true, but like when George R. R. Martin kills off of all his people or whatever, I find that authors that kind of kill their characters off unceremoniously, and I'm not saying that George R. R. Martin does this, because from my understanding he actually doesn't kill a lot of people off, but like there's this certain kind of trend of artists who like just kills their people off, and I feel like that's kind of wrong in a sense, because I feel like as God, you should care about your creations, and the moment you don't, like you start creating like bad art. And also, I don't know if you think this, but like, do you think you create real alternate universes when you create art? I guess. Or is it just like, actually it's just fake paper, you don't have to care about it, it's just like they're just words, and I can kill off a guy, blah blah blah.
Right, right, right. Man, it's interesting because I think because I do believe I do think that you are a form of, and I think creation is divine. I truly do. It's one reason I worship art to the degree that I do.
Hmm.
I think it's an act of God.
Yeah.
Like you are participating in an act of God. But when it comes to writing as an art specifically, it's kind of weird, man, because I think that when you're writing, that your sole responsibility is to the story.
Hmm.
So there is, and this is what I mean. It was. I think it was a good point to mention Martin, because to me, I've read like so everything that he's wrote so far, like the Song of Fire, Ice and Fire. I think he does care. I
Yeah.
really do think he cares about these characters, and I don't think and I'm not saying you said this. I'm just saying there's a difference, right? I don't think he killed them off. He killed them off because of his worldview, right? Because of the way that the story had to be, because of the way he
Yes.
views the world in this, at least in this case.
Yeah, I
Um,
agree.
so in his mind, it was in the service of the story.
I
Uh,
I think I've heard from like less judicious people though that like you shouldn't care, or like they're just characters. Like it's kind of like the SJW defense, where it's like, oh, it's just fantasy. Why does it matter that this thing isn't accurate? Like that type shit. That it.
sure. Yeah, yeah. I wouldn't. I mean, I would argue against any of that shit for sure. Like, I'm with you on that. It's just literally like if you're just killing them off, then like like, like kill your darlings. Like, I guess I got to do it.
Yeah.
You know, like that's kind of bullshit. However, if like the story serves, like, even in the book, man, like, with Marilyn, like that was rough for me personally. But I also, because of the story, I kind of had to do it. You know what I mean?
Because it
But
felt
Yeah,
is
right.
there?
yeah.
Do I think that there is and I mean, I think it is despicable. But yeah, absolutely. If is there a sadism, right? Is it possible to be the sadist as a writer? Yeah, man, for sure. And it comes across on the page too. Like that's the thing. Like, I mean, if you're a sensitive writer, if you really pay attention, love the work, you can tell where people are coming from,
Yeah.
right? Like you can pick up on that. And so yeah, I agree that some people are like needlessly sadistic. As far as creating an alternate universe, I think about that, man. Like it's fun. It's fun to think about, but I also kind of know that mm, I'm glad that the universe is between the pages. I'll put it that way.
That's fair. That's fair. Yeah.
Yeah, I think you kind of have to hold both both values when you're like entering the flow state, that you need to be a servant to the story, to to like the evolution of the word, but then you can't help but also feel a genuine affection and a love for the people that you're writing about. If you imbue it with the right sense of with the right sense of self. um so even when you're being a servant to the story and you have to like make those harsh decisions, hopefully you fall so much in love that it actually, it kind of devastates you on some level, because then that would give it meaning, right?
Yeah, absolutely, dude. Well said. Well said.
Yeah. It's perfect.
Like,
Yeah, and
are
you
you approaching this as a human, right? And if you're
right.
writing fiction, presumably, and it's not a requirement, but man, presumably you find it people interesting in some capacity.
Right,
One would
and
hope.
you can sense a sort of off-putting mean-spiritedness behind an artist who does not value their characters like that.
Yeah,
For
I think
sure.
I think that's the SJW thing. Like, there's a bunch of like trans like manga, right? And it's actually a lot of it's pretty dope. Um, and you like SJWs. It's not necessarily about the trans. There's like something like they just hate you, kind of, right? Like that's what it feels like. Whereas the Japanese guys like, oh, I just make my trans manga and I want to be a hot girl, whatever they're doing. But SJWs, they like hate you. They're like, no, white man, you can't live. It's our America now. It's like, fuck off, dude.
Right. Yeah, yeah.
Well, their
You know
art
what?
is
Like the
meaning.
French, man. The French are like that.
Really?
Like the French are caught between, and it's funny, like like France and Japan more than any other country have dedicated themselves to sort of like secular beauty,
Hmm.
but like they're also like two of the most fucked up countries in the world, like as far as sensibilities go. Like they're just gnarly.
Hmm.
Bro. That's what stuff's good, honestly. So,
I don't think France likes themselves compared to Japan though. Japan treasures themselves like France doesn't. Like that's
mm,
I described France in a tweet once. Actually, I said like the France is the man who like admires his giant phallus and then like smears shit on it. Like that's the French to me.
yeah, I can see that. I didn't have many more notes on theory selling. Jesse, do you have any uh notes or?
No, I figured with that really hilarious segue, we could get into
Yeah,
give up the ghost.
yeah,
Which is
yeah,
decidedly not French.
yeah,
Just
yeah,
shitting all over yourself and your talk. And
yeah.
um
All right.
so we both read Give Up the Ghost.
Yes.
I appreciate it, fellas.
Yeah. Why don't you kind of give a like a summation, sort of, and then we'll kind of break it apart and talk about it.
Yeah, just like kind of a plot summary.
Yeah, yeah. Just kind of give the people like who aren't really familiar with it, I guess.
Sure. The Guild of the Ghost. It was originally conceived as what I called a Dixie noir, which was supposed to be my southern mirror of like Scandinavian noir. And it changed quite a bit in the process. But the general plot line is it follows Atticus Remington Scott, referred to as AR, throughout the book, as he goes on the search for his cousin's killer. And he descends from a mountain in North Georgia, and his father, Killian, is a former cult leader, and AR goes down. And his cousin Boss is also a deputy in the area where their cousin was killed, and so the story follows AR as he searches for his cousin's killer.
Sick. All right.
And he is on a he's being confronted by spiritual warfare on every aspect of his journey, of his in his journey to discover this, right?
Yeah, correct. AR is there's a metaphysical like parallel narrative throughout the entire thing until the end. And basically it is that AR descends from the mountain as a pure and innocent being, and he sort of comes into contact both like literally and spiritually with the sort of the dooming questions that come along with morality, I think is an okay way to put it.
Actually,
Yes,
Oh, did I say morality? I meant mortality. Excuse me.
mortality. Yeah.
Mortality.
this is
Yes.
like an extremely niche tangent, but I have to ask, was this
Let's
did, have
go.
you ever read the comic Transmetropolitan?
I read the first issue, the guy with the green and red glasses, right?
Yeah. Okay, so I was gonna ask, is like that inspired by Transmetro? Because it's like the same thing. He like goes down the mountain into the city to do the
Oh,
to do the
really?
report. Yeah.
Dude, I read that like back in like high school, man.
Yeah.
If it's the same, it wasn't meant to be. I didn't know. I literally only read like the first issue because I thought his shades were cool.
Yeah,
Wow.
no, yeah.
That's
No, it's like
badass. I
it's
mean,
kind of like a
that's
subconscious
crazy.
thing where like Spider Jerusalem is like
I'll
this
have to look it
reporter.
up, man. That's nuts. Like literally just like it.
Yeah, like so basically what
Oh
happens like
shit.
he's up in this mountain and like his beard is like he's like not taking care of himself. He's like buck naked and shit, I think. And then like something happens in the city where like he has to do real journalism, so he like goes back to the city to like show people how it's done or something along those lines. And I thought I was like,
Oh,
"Oh,
like
this
some
is
Zarathustra shit.
yeah." So I was like, "Oh, is this
Interesting.
Transmetropolitan?" But it's funny.
Damn, dude.
It might have been subconscious, but yeah, I like the comic. You should you know
Yeah,
read it if you
I'll have to
ever
look
get a
at it. I haven't
chance.
looked at it forever. Well, like because I mentioned that it changed quite a bit because I conceived it of the Dixie Noir,
Yeah,
and I told it to a friend online, like kind of sort of my original concept. He's like, man, that sounds a little bit like True Detective.
yeah.
But at
Hmm.
the time, I had never seen it. Like I had no
Oh,
idea what True Detective was. And so I was like, okay, well, hell, I got to go watch it. So I watched season one, and I was like, shit.
This is the
So then
fuck.
that, which I was happy, like so I realized like, okay, here's the True Detective elements, which even when you write a Southern story, because I'm not a Southern author, right? Like this is like as far as I don't write stories about the South. This is the first one I've ever done.
That's
But when you write a
crazy.
Southern story, especially if you're actually Southern, as I am, you're immediately under like Faulkner and O'Connor's shadow, and now
mhm.
McCarthy's. So it's just kind of something that you have to deal with if you're going to write one. But then
Wait.
I read,
I'm confused. I thought. Wait. So you're not Southern, correct?
I am, but I'm not a Southern writer. Like I don't write
Oh, okay,
like
okay.
Faulkner shit.
Because I was gonna say like
I,
your accent is so Southern. I was like, this guy's not Southern. What?
oh no, no, I am. I am.
Yeah,
I'm
yeah,
just
yeah.
I
Okay,
don't consider myself like a Southern writer.
I see. Sorry. Continue.
But then I knew I had to have that weight. But then I watched True Detective and I was like, fuck, man. But I was happy. No, I really was, dude. I was like, shit, it is like a Dixie Noir. But then that's when I was happy. And I mean, whether I pulled it off, I leave it up to the reader, right? I tried, but that was when I really sort of leaned into the meta side, and I kind of the closest allegory I had to it was like Pilgrim's Progress, although not,
Oh,
very loosely. And so, but seeing True Detective really made me sort of lean into the spiritual elements of it, which I really enjoyed, and I think that was a lot more fun for me, at least, instead of just like sort of like a detective story.
Yeah, it's why I love Twin Peaks so much, because there's these really great moments where your lead detective is the universe is confronting him, is speaking to him, they're using him as a vehicle or whatever in order to like he's just like on a path that's like beyond him. He's just being
Right.
used as a vessel. And I love that as like a visual element. So I was just yeah I was just really enjoying those aspects, the kind of the surrealistic, religious elements of it.
Very cool. I'm glad, man. I'm relieved to hear it for
yeah,
sure.
bro. While we're here, like, let me just say, read this book. It's fucking good. Okay, like, just
Yeah, it's a
so
good
everyone knows.
book.
Yeah, and I have to say, Tuki's Mag, I love you guys. What the fuck? Like, this is fucking hot take time. Okay, I rewatched your episode again. You guys are high
Same.
as fuck, bro. This book slaps. This is like, in my opinion, on the upper end of indie books I've read. And I just don't get like the whole there shouldn't be spiritual things, elements. That's the point of the book, bro. That's why it's so good. Okay, like, I loved it.
Well, yeah, and not to throw a bunch of shade, but it is funny that Miles said he was like skim reading passages.
Yeah. Oh man.
Um, but okay, so let's kind of talk about the structure a little bit, because structurally it doesn't try to be uh like at it's like it's a succinct book, and it's very direct, but as far as the pacing goes, it's not trying to be this like constant momentous thing. It takes a lot of time for contemplation and and like quiet reverie of in like the environment. And I think I actually posted today on Twitter a passage which I think perfectly explains like um why you chose to kind of why you kind of chose to structure it like that. And if you don't mind me reading that out loud.
No,
um
please.
Waiting is half of life. Preparation during that wait, both physical and spiritual, is our signal to God that we are ready and willing to be used by His hand. You must envision yourself as a sheathed sword ready for battle, honed since creation to ensure your aim and cut is true. The fact is, you have been given honor, but not yet glory, but your presence and willingness to be used is purpose in and of itself. Be patient, need for you will come. And I thought that was kind of your like addressing like almost like to the audience, like I know this this pacing or this structure is sort of unconventional, but it is reflective of the character's spiritual journey.
Yeah, that was Killian talking to AR
Hmm.
when AR can't he wants to quit. Um yeah, I think the AR, maybe this is, you know, too much behind the scenes. Forgive me, King Cringe, but like AR is kind of like Jesus 2.0.
Okay.
It's like what if what if Jesus came down to earth, experienced mortality, and then like decided to like handle business, right?
Oh, okay. I see.
But that's one interpretation, I guess.
Okay.
But
Also,
yeah, I
also,
think
you don't
that
have to apologize for all the like religious shit. All right, it's cool.
I can get pretty heretical, man.
Yeah,
I'm just
let's
trying to be
go.
because y'all are
Yeah,
gracious toast.
I
This
I
is
mean,
appreciate
he's
it.
friends with me, it's okay.
Yeah.
yeah.
It's all good.
Yeah, all right.
I can handle it.
But
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, I think that the narrative, the spiritual journey of AR is something that has to be, and it was, hopefully it was cathartic in some capacity for the reader too, because he comes into contact with evil, right? And he comes
Yeah.
into contact with death, and he comes into contact with murder. And to me, I think that mortality is the driving force behind everything that we do, I guess, as human beings.
Okay.
It's it's the only thing that really can't be changed. And I conceive of it as something greater and beyond just biological reality, but obviously it is at its root. But I don't think that he could come into contact with those things and not have to contemplate it. But I think that you're right, Jesse, and that Killian's thing is sort of an addressing nihilism. Right? It's a direct address to not philosophical nihilism, but to like actual nihilism. Like what do you do as a human being when you realize that, and the we don't have to jump all the way forward there, but at the end it's kind of made explicit, like this, true non-philosophical nihilism, like the reality of it all, where you will die, everything you love and know will die, and that's narratives included. I think that beyond just waiting for AR and for the reader, it's sort of, you just kind of have to wait and figure it out. You have to be useful. There has to be you have to see there's some point for it. I wish that sounded smarter, but hopefully that answers the question.
No, that's okay. I think that did a very good job. So I was gonna ask about the William Blake influence. We kind of touched on that a little bit earlier. That you're a massive scholar of William Blake, right?
I'm not. I'm a fan, not a.
Right,
I wouldn't
right.
propose
You're
myself
a
as a scholar.
dude.
Yeah, I'm an adherent.
Yeah,
I'll put it
yeah.
that way. I'm an adherent.
An admirer, and clearly someone who's who channeled the aesthetic influence of William Blake into a lot of the prose passages. Yeah, I was wondering if you could kind of speak to the not only the kind of like the ontological relevance of William Blake, but also how it takes on aesthetic relevance in the story as it goes on, and so on, like that.
Oh shit! Oh,
I don't know if it's too
hell
heavy.
yeah, bro!
I just want you to ramble.
Right, hell yeah. Let me get my whiskey real quick.
Let's go.
Hell yeah, dude.
All right. Let me. How should I begin? All right. So, William Blake's initial sort of appeal to me is that he uses text plus image, right? Which, if you're familiar with my Motoko account, is sort of what I'm starting to try to do with that.
Motoko?
But
what's Motoko?
Yeah, it's sort of a. I'm about to bring it back. Actually, it's sort of defined Motoko Baby 33 on Twitter.
Oh, okay.
It actually uses my PFP that I have now, the chick with the tattoos.
Okay,
but yeah. I turned P.C.M into an aesthetics account for a long time. Like when I was writing the book, I didn't post. I just did that. But then I sort of like conceived of Motoko as an aesthetics thing that I wanted to do for the future.
Oh wait, I'm following you. Oh wait, you're a Motoko. Oh, I didn't know.
Hell yeah, I am.
Oh shit, I didn't even know.
That was good though. Good vibes. I'm sorry, continue.
No, appreciate it, man. Like no, the reason is text plus image is sort of like permanent suspension of disbelief, and I think I told Gio this, but like if I have a, it doesn't matter, man. Like if I have a comic and I draw a picture of God and I say that's God in the text, then as far as the paradox of fiction goes into full effect, and you're fully able to believe and to buy into it. And I thought that was incredibly powerful shit. And Blake Blake is I think Blake should be read by every single artist that gives a damn, like actually cares about art. Um, I think that Blake is most relevant to artists and to people trying to meaning. And a lot of people aren't interested in meaning. I get that. But as far as the validation of one's own life and experience, you can't get much better than William Blake. And as an artist, you can't get far past sincerity, belief, technical skill. Someone wants to, I'll put it like this. I'm kind of rambling a little bit, but like someone once said that William Blake is an Ubermensch, and I absolutely agree with that.
Okay.
And so more to the story, man, instead of me just rambling. In there, every single quote that is included in that book is from Blake's Marriage of Heaven and Hell. And Marriage of Heaven and Hell, in my mind, is his thesis on art. It's his thesis on art. And most importantly to me is what is made obvious in the title, which is the duality, right? And Blake, his big thing is, and it's relevant, this is why I find it so incredibly relevant to what we're talking about, is he was a believer, but he also completely worshiped in like, so you have a true Christian, right? A true, albeit unorthodox Christian, a true believer in Christ, who through his perception of his own sense perception, his own sensual experience of life and the joys of the intellect, he takes an like basically a Nietzschean approach to celebrating the vitality of his life, but then he adds, because of his sensual experience and because he hadn't encountered, true nihilism and narrative collapse, which I don't think even if he did, it wouldn't have changed anything. He's able to find vitality. He's able to celebrate and find the glory. He's able to glory in his own existence in a way that would be associated with Nietzsche, but also to account for the spiritual experience of consciousness that, and I'm not a Nietzsche scholar, so maybe someone will correct me, but that to my mind, like Nietzsche doesn't really do, right? Nietzsche's interested in like vitality, right? But this goes beyond that. This is existential vitality, or vitality via. It's the same reason I put in the book. I have the two narratives, right? You have the physical realm. We're all subject to this. You have the physical realm. You have the realm of the mind, which is self-awareness, right? And I think that William Blake is the only artist, only anything that I've found that services and offers the balm to both.
Okay.
And one of the reasons the Marriage of Heaven and Hell is so important is because he's talking about the parameters and limitations of these defined constructs. Like he specifically mentions the priest class, which is someone who brings their morale. And I mean, to anyone that hears this, or to both y'all, please read Marriage of Heaven and Hell. Like read it like once. It takes like 15, 20 minutes.
Oh, really?
Read it
Sure.
several times. It's insane.
Okay, shit. I might have to
It will change your artistic life. And but the Marriage of Heaven and Hell is exactly that. It's almost like a Taoist understanding where there's a very, very powerful scene where this angel walks Blake into hell to witness Leviathan. And then like Blake is basically chilling, and like his wait. Would you give me? Can I read one little part of this? Do
Yeah.
you mind? Sorry, give me just 1 second. It's good shit. Hold on, real quick. I gotta find it.
I'm surprised you didn't have it on hand immediately, considering how many times you referenced it in the
Well,
book.
I have the book. I have the book. And so we talk about subversive, we talk about heretical, right? If you'll indulge me.
Yeah.
And so this is
We're heretical heresies now.
Right.
New pod name.
And this is actually the memorable fancy that he closes the book with. And I'll read it fairly quickly. It's like 2-3 paragraphs, but it's not big. It says, "Once I saw a devil in a flame of fire, who arose before an angel that sat on a cloud, and the devil uttered these words: The worship of God is honoring his gifts in other men, each according to his genius, and loving the greatest men best, those who envy or calumniate great men who hate God. Those who envy or calumniate great men hate God, for there is no other God." So you can begin to see the Nietzsche stuff, right? The angel, hearing this, became almost blue, but mastering himself, he grew yellow and at last white, pink, and smiling, and then replied, "Thou idolater, is not God one? And is not he visible in Jesus Christ? And has not Jesus Christ given his sanction to the law of 10 commandments? And are not all other men fools, sinners, or nothings?" And I'll skip to it. So then basically the devil is answering against the charge of the 10 commandments. And so he says, covet when he prayed for his, he's talking about basically saying that Jesus, you know what, I'll just read it. He's saying Jesus broke the 10 commandments. He says, the devil answered, "Bray a fool and a mortar with wheat, yet shall not his folly be beaten out of him. If Jesus Christ is the greatest man, you ought to love him in the greatest degree. Now hear how he has given his sanction to the law of 10 commandments. Did he not mock at the Sabbath and so mock the Sabbath's God? Murder those who were murdered because of him. Turn away the law from the woman taken in adultery. Steal the labor of others to support him. Bear false witness when he omitted making a defense before Pilate. Covet when he prayed for his disciples, and when he bid them shake off the dust of their feet against such refuse to lodge them. I tell you, no virtue can exist without breaking these 10 commandments. Jesus was all virtue and acted from impulse, not from rules. And when he had spoken, I beheld the angel who stretched out his arms, embracing the flame of fire, and he was consumed and arose as Elijah." And that is that's Blake's thesis for everything he does as far as how to live. Right? He's going against morality, he's going against the priest class, he's going against construct. And in that case, he's actually showing how Jesus basically broke the Old Testament.
Okay. Well,
So to me, that's pure freedom, man. The marriage of heaven and hell, when you bring the two, when you free the constructs, that's pure freedom. And what else could you possibly want when it comes to art? And so that's why I included him, as I didn't think there was any greater guide to life than William Blake.
Well, let me just dissect this a little, or at least because that's an interesting passage if I'm reading this correctly. It's kind of interesting because I feel like there's two thoughts to that, which is at least that I can see, which is, in my opinion, I think people are talented, and this is gonna sound weird, but I feel like art is about like 90% talent, 10% hard work, but you still need to work like 200 hours. So like the
Right.
thing about like there's greater beings, or like I think you should respect people, and definitely you shouldn't envy them, I guess. But on the flip side, and this is like, I'm not a Catholic, there is a weird deification of people where they're like, this is Saint Mary, theoretically, or like all these saints, and I'm just thinking to myself, aren't these just people though? Like, you know,
Yeah.
obviously, I'm a Jesus fan. I worship Jesus, so like he's obviously God. But like all the other like kind of people, And it's like I don't know if we should be doing all this extra shit, you know. But those are just my two thoughts from like the trad religion side. I don't know if you have any things on that.
Yeah, man. Well, I think like you're right in that like Christianity is like at its core like universalist.
Yeah, that's true.
Um, so that would be in conflict. I think that I mentioned like in the he talks about everyone according to their own genius, and I opened Give Up the Ghost with an epigraph from Marriage of Heaven and Hell, and I can't remember exactly. It says, "As I was walking through the flames of hell." No, I have the book. Hold on, man. I really should have been more prepared.
It's okay.
What did I do? What did I do? Oh, as I was walking among the fires of hell, delighted with the enjoyments of genius, which to angels look like torment and insanity.
Okay.
And he talked about to everyone according to their genius, and that's what he's talking about in my mind is that subjective experience. And when he says great men, I think that I see it as needs. Keep in mind, I am not a scholar. Okay,
Yeah.
like it really
Neither
is
am
just
I.
I read this shit. But to me, when he talks about great men, I see that more as people. It's the genius that he talked about in the epigraph that I read and in the actual passage, to where what genius is to him is that direct subjective experience
Okay.
that he believes and portrays as communicating with the divine.
Okay. I see. But yeah, I think that also ties into the art because I'm sorry, I cut off my thought mid sentence where the thing about right wing people is I feel like they kind of do like the same way like Catholics kind of like are overly I think reverential to like saints and stuff like that. Like right wingers are overly reverential to like their genius guys like who can ever beat Lord of the Rings? Who can ever like you hear
Sure.
every 5 seconds it's like Pope. It's like and they're like, you have to know the Western canon. And I'm like, actually, I'm not. I'm not going to read the Western canon, except for William Brake, because my guy, P.C.M. Christ recommended him. But other than that,
Oh, well. Oh, yeah.
no, I'm not doing that. You know, I'm not worshiping these guys. And like the right wing, I don't know, has this, oh, as I said, they just worship the old shit, and it's tiring.
Well, I think, yeah, I would argue though, and I mean, that's an interesting conversation to have, but I would also argue that maybe their deference, because I
Yeah.
totally agree. I think I said this in Post Heresy, to where like the problem with like this is like old internet speak, right? But like the left has their soy boys and the right has their incels, right? Like they're the equivalent, they're comparable.
Yeah.
The problem is that when you identify as an incel and okay, let me say exactly what you're saying, but like how I think of it, because you're right. When you worship the Chad, right, you kind of cuck yourself.
True.
And so if someone says, like, oh, I'm never gonna write it as anything as like the old, this is the problem with worshiping the past. Is and especially if you see everything as in decline. Right, like we were never as educated as they were. We're
Yeah.
never going to be as good as they were. It's like for you, not me. So instead, rather than they miss the point, right? For one, like their deference is like it's cucked and it's kind of off-putting, like in a real way, which I would also argue is kind of one of the problems I have with traditional Christianity.
Yeah.
You're absolutely right about the Catholics, and although yeah, I mean, but even like the kowtowing to the Pope, man, it's gross to me.
Bro, that shit, like every time, like you just bring up the Pope to any Catholic. I mean, Catholics are cool. Okay, you guys are great, but like, really, really, you gonna listen
Yeah,
to this
right.
guy? Like, really?
But yeah,
Like,
but that doesn't mean I would still like certain things like I think are still worth reading, right? Like
yeah,
I wouldn't reject it wholesale, like just because someone kind of worships it. But I do
yeah,
think it's gross. I think even as art, right? If you think like I'm never going to write something as good as as good as Yeats, right?
Yeah.
Then it's like, you know, then you're screwed. You know what I mean? Whatever you worship is going to belittle you.
Yeah, it's
Hmm.
nihilistic.
And
It kind of stops you from wanting to, to create in the first place.
yeah, absolutely. And it's the death cult thing. That's been my big problem, like with the book, was calling like Christianity a death cult.
Okay.
And I do think that by worshiping the past, which in which in a sense they do, right? Before I was born and given the burden of this life, then I was still one with God, and now I'm doing everything I can to get back. You know, and
That goes hard.
that describes Western civilization right now in my mind. You know, I have no interest. I don't have any interest in going back. You know why? Because I have no idea what that shit's like.
Yeah.
I have no there's no I can't conceive of it. You know, I'm not gonna be able to conceive of it. And that's fine. It's why is it interesting to read Tolstoy besides the fact that he's really, really good? Because like, okay, like or I wouldn't even say Tolstoy, but I'm saying like the modernists, right? The modernists were of a place and time.
Yeah.
That's a fascinating aspect. They're not of our place and time. And
Yeah.
so why would we're not gonna write the same thing.
Yeah.
Dostoevsky can't write Give Up the Ghost.
Yeah.
Yeah, what would that look like?
But he
Yeah.
can't do it.
But
'Cause
it's
he's
it's
not
Yeah,
me,
yeah.
Jesse.
it's just like a defeatist, uh, sort of antithetical, sort of sort of a thing. Yeah,
Yeah, DOA, man, you're literally fucked. Like you're dead on arrival. It's
Yeah.
over.
And like it just not being willing, I think, to give people their flowers in real life. Because like I could say right now that Give Up the Ghost is more anti woke than Lord of the Rings. Because like Lord of the Rings has the thing where the girl Arwen gets to defeat the fucking thing, and all these midgets. Like I could say Give Up the Ghost is like, and I'm gonna say it. But it is more anti woke than Lord of the Rings. But if you say that in public, people are like, oh, how could you though? But how could you? It's like it's
Right.
now like people deserve to know that sometimes you did beat Tolkien on something. He wasn't perfect, my guy.
Your man Dostoevsky could learn a thing or two from me, bro.
Yeah,
Yeah, dude, where's your Waffle House sluts? Okay.
bro,
For
that shit was
real.
tight. Dostoevsky
He
doesn't
was
have
not
Waffle
a
House
slut.
sluts.
He was not slutty at all. But no, like
Sorry to shame your sluts.
she was a hoe. She wasn't a slut.
There's a difference.
But no, I mean it's true, man. It's true. Like I don't like it's because I too like kind of approach it like like from almost like a contrarian thing, right? But I've learned as especially after the book, where it's sort of the one of the joys that I find in like modernity is that I can learn and be inspired by anything.
Yes.
Like a lot of people, like, if you're gonna write, then you need, like you said, you got to read the Western canon. It's like, bro, I'll read it when I want to, but right now I'm watching anime.
Yes.
You know,
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah.
no, but I know you can be inspired by that, right? Like I can, if you take elements that you learn from anime, and you take elements that you learn from Nabokov, and you take elements that you learn from freaking, black metal. I don't actually listen to black metal, tech death, not black. I
Yeah.
don't listen to black metal. But if you take all those elements and you can like, be inspired and combine them into some new shit, like that's badass. Like it's
Yeah,
so
Yeah.
that's what I mean. Like no one's having fun anymore because everyone wants to be inspired. Everyone wants to be a scholar. They all want to be the fucking best. Like no one's having fun.
yeah.
Well, yeah. Well, the thing is, like, they want to be a writer, so like they're like, you have to read books. It's like, no, like you can just
I
you
mean,
can
you do
listen to
have to
music.
read books. You have to read books.
I
Don't not read
I
books. You have to.
disagree. I think quality is what matters the most. If a piece of content or an idea is quality, that's what matters the most. I'm not saying you
Well,
shouldn't read
Are
books.
you writing a book? Then you need to read a book. Are you talking about like YouTube videos or something?
Just anything in real life. Like if anything is of high quality, I think, because I feel like stories are like not writing in the sense that
They don't have
you
to
could
be
put
for sure.
your like the medium doesn't really matter because you can gain story from anything, right? Uh, I don't
Yeah,
know.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Multimedia
Yes.
speaks to something very deep in all of us, I think.
I'm not saying you don't have to learn like how to write, but
I'm
because
just saying if you
yeah,
write a book, you should read books. Everything else, whatever.
eh, I don't know. I guess I disagree. I don't know if you
Agree to
have to read books.
disagree.
I think it's just words on paper. Like if you want to like
You're
write
never gonna
something.
be as good as me
Yeah.
then.
Which is just, yeah. Fuck.
Competition.
So
Right,
good.
right. I'll just play, but we can agree to disagree.
Yeah, for sure.
But I
Yeah.
do think it's more conducive for exciting, forward-thinking art when you're just channeling the shit that excites you, and you're not trying to conform to some idea of of like what's literary, but you're just like
Absolutely.
what gives you a boner, so you're just gonna put all that shit into one thing because that's what you want to see. Like you should just be making the art that you want to see that you're not getting enough of or something.
No, for sure, man. And I think that's sort of the liberating thing is like let me absolutely like seethe with hate for a second.
Okay.
Okay.
But you know what I mean? Like like this whole like the things you see, this isn't aimed at BAP at all. I'm saying like a lot of this sort of, like be a man of adventure, like, be free, even the leftist shit, right? Like that started in like, like the Ivy Leagues, you know what I mean? Like it's all them trying to free themselves from like the oppressive everything of like status,
Hmm.
all of it. And my seething hate comes when I start talking about Trump, right?
Okay.
No, if you weren't on that train, man, like whatever. I'm not gonna judge anyone personally. I'm talking generally speaking. I voted for Trump all three elections, right? So I've been on that Trump
Same.
train since 2015, man.
Mhm.
And to see three elections later, a certain class of society, like a certain strata of society, finally, after 10 fucking years almost, decide that now it's respectable to do, like everyone can kind of eat a dick. Let's not pretend that you did anything.
Yeah.
That's my little bitch on the side, my little rant on the side. I'm bitching, but my point is when you are free, like you're talking about, Jesse, like when you're not, that's when you're not worried about status. You know what I
Mhm.
mean? That's when you're not in actual competition. Like Bloom talked about, like the anxiety of influence. Eventually, like if you don't care, right? Like that's what I mean. There's if you view everything as like collapsed narrative, right? There is no Western canon. There's the shit I like. You know
Yes.
what I mean? There are things that
There's
historically speaking are accurate that would be labeled the Western canon, which are a conversation between Western thinkers that eventually ended with Nietzsche. Sure. Therefore, I'm interested in the thing I just described. Go check it out, right? I'm not talking about sort of like a flippant, like thumbing my nose at everything, right? What I mean is refuse to worship nothing and you are actually free. And this is like, it goes very quickly. It's like, dude, how is that even right wing? Because I'm not conservative,
yeah. And it makes
right?
sense too. Like
You're
it's
free.
yeah.
Escape the status trap. Escape the intelligence. Like, let's be funnier than each other. Let's, be ironic and wink, wink, ha ha bullshit. And I think that this is like, people don't want to admit it because it's supposed to be an intellectual movement. This is the actual version of new sincerity,
Yeah.
right? As like espoused by Wallace. Now, in my mind, because I do believe in good taste, according to me, right? Not according to other people, according to me. But like something like that reminded me when you're talking about Jesse about like, like combining the things and doing shit you like. It's kind of like you did y'all ever? I'm sure y'all did. Y'all see Freddy versus Jason?
Yeah, I love that movie.
Dude, it's
Oh
fun
no.
as shit, right? It's a
Yeah, it's so
fun,
funny.
excellent movie. But then you don't want to, and I support Freddy versus Jason. But if all it veers into is sort of like crossovers, like sort of like the Reddit version of what we're describing, that's get that out of here,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
But
That's
as
kind of
far
where
as if
we're
I
at
can do,
now with Marvel.
yeah, no, exactly. So it's just like we're gonna cross over everything, and everyone like freaking sway faces and all that. It's like, no, dude, like get out. But if you can take, like, I talked to ChatGPT about anime structural tropes. Hell yeah,
Yeah.
I can do a version of that, like, but using a Western.
Hmm.
Well,
Yeah.
can't you know what I mean? Like, I'm kind of veering off track,
I
but yeah, man, I agree. I think as soon as you're liberated, as soon as you stop caring, you can just do what you want to do and have your own standard of taste, and it is what it is. Now, you're not going to sell a lot of books. I found that shit out, but you'll do all right.
Yeah, you'll find a niche audience that loves the same shit that you do.
It's kind of like Polinick. Like the only thing I ever let myself dream, and he's like he's doing fine,
Hmm.
but yeah, like Polinick was a cult following. He was a popular one, but you either liked Polinick or you didn't, and I think that's just kind of more honest. Like if you don't have to concern yourself with a status symbol, if you just like him, you like him. If you don't, you don't.
you gotta
Which I
say,
do.
fuck the
Yeah,
Western
same.
canon. Make your own canon, okay? It should be your
Yeah.
canon.
Write your own, bitch.
Yeah. But I
For
do have
sure.
like this may be something interesting to you. Just because you touched on the anime. I find that the people who like kind of because like now anime's in, so now like everybody's doing it, and I feel like the people who copy anime just from the West just suck, or like I don't know, it's not interesting. Like you're just trying, like as you said, like the structure should be there. You should be doing the structure in a Western, like you said, P.C.M. Not making anime, like actually anime. And I feel like there's a difference. I'm not saying you can't. You can do whatever you want, obviously, but there's just something I think fake to it because you don't actually live in Japan, my guy. So like when you start making anime, it comes off as really weird.
Yeah. Did you ever see Jaden Smith's anime?
Oh fuck! I think I
No,
did.
no,
He
I didn't.
teamed up with the dude, the lead singer of Vampire Weekend, I think, and they made an American anime where the main. It's like some of the aesthetics are obviously you can tell are aping what they've seen before, but like obviously the main character is a black kid with like pink dreadlocks, and you're like, all right.
It's
He's just
like
Mary suing it.
it's like every black kid is just like they just do Naruto, but they just put a black guy. It's like now this is original.
Dude, I went to a death metal concert and saw a black dude like Naruto run across the pit.
Holy fuck!
And I was like, man, it's over, bro. I'm going home. Like, I need to stay on the internet for once.
That's what death metal is now. It's just fucking nerds running at each other.
Dude, it all started with Prague, man. Prague killed metal. It
Damn.
really did. No, for real. Like as soon as they did the status thing, right? As soon as it's like, oh man, I trained classical. I need to play metal though. It's like, dude, I don't care.
Oh, you do halftime in like 3/4 or whatever with your with all your
Right.
impressive chords and shit. But
Yep.
shit. I was gonna say something about. Oh, okay. Oh yeah. This is just my personal opinion right now. I don't know if you agree with this, but I think anime is washed right now. I know the stocks are really high, but like the only anime I was like keeping up with like was Chainsaw Man Part 2, and it's not doing so hot right now. So I feel like people who are like gravitating towards anime, they're basically buying the stock when it's high, and like I think I think copying off of anime right now is not the move. I don't know if you have any thoughts on that.
This is something I've thought about a lot, especially like considering like serialization.
Okay.
Um, and I did a space with Cinder when we talked about some of the stuff the other day. I think it was like 2 days ago, Sunday. Um, he likes anime a lot too, and he said that he thought the West answer to anime was to do anime, like as not a Western version of it, but to
Mm.
fully just adopt the trope over. You know what I mean? Which I kind of pushed back against because I think that the West has a pretty nice America at least.
Yeah.
has a pretty good animation tradition, like
Okay.
in
Yeah.
our path. Um, here's, I'll take your question. I'll take it just like way too far, man.
Let's go.
Uh, I think that have y'all ever seen Firefly?
Yeah.
I think I saw a couple like the first episodes or so.
Yeah. Which is fine. The only relevant part to it is it's a space opera western, but it also like implies through the use of like slang and a few other things that like at some point China was like a relevant force in this whole thing.
Okay.
Hmm.
In you know, creating the world that was intergalactic. And with because like I'm just old enough to sort of remember back when like anime had like a social cost.
Yes. Back when anime was
And
cool.
yeah, back when it was cool to not be cool, right?
Yeah,
But
you couldn't wear your fucking Naruto shirt to school or you get bullied.
Yeah.
yeah. Or even like the kids walking around with like, you know, like Evangelion. You know what I mean? Like they were their own little thing. You know what I mean? Like I remember them at the mall.
Yeah.
But my point being is I think that and we're gonna take these big ropes, man. We're gonna take these big old leaps, dudes. Our future is inevitably tied up with East Asia.
Okay.
I went off on this huge thing on Isaac's thing about why I think that is, like tracing
Yes.
like from like the 1850s all the way up to now to like why Asia got big on YouTube and now everything's going East Asian. But which I'll save, you know, I'll save y'all from because it's like a 15-minute rant. But really, I think that we are like sensibility wise, aesthetically, you cannot. I've been over to Asia,
Yeah.
and like East Asia, like a few times, and aesthetically, you cannot beat them. You can't beat them.
Yeah.
And when we're on the internet and we're operating off aesthetics and we're operating off of vibes, you can't fucking beat them. And I would also, I told Senna this, I would encourage any artist to like get onto like Chinese social media, right? Even like Xiao
Okay.
Hongshu, like the little red book that all the shit libs left TikTok for momentarily. Like get on that, man. Get on that just to see what they're doing. Get on
Yeah.
that for if nothing else to escape the decline and the black pilling and to like be re-inspired because they have audacity, right? They are
Yeah.
full of it. They're not declining. They're on the come up, man, in their minds. And that's a valuable thing to witness.
No, there's a lot of talent
Even
that
artistically, if not for, you know, intellectually. And so when it comes to the future of art, I think that I really do. I think that the Western, and I'm going to get hate and all this for that, but I don't care. Like what true Western chauvinism is why we're fucked every time.
what do you mean?
Like you know, like Western civilization mirrors the life of an individual,
Okay.
right? That is its basis. It has no renewal. It has to die, and then it can be resurrected under the same principles eventually. And I think that one thing that China in particular, although Japan did it too, Japan and Korea learned about it via capitalism, China's doing it with everything, is that East Asia is willing to learn from the masters, so to speak.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay.
And the West being like if you're an artist or a politician, if you're anything involving understanding and policy and content and you're not looking to East Asia, like for understanding, for deeper insights, for different insights, you are a fool.
Yeah.
And so the question is, can we actually copy them? I think that I used to say that the future can any future art cannot solve. We cannot answer any of the problems that we have now with capital R realism.
Hmm.
I don't think we can do it. Which is one reason I thought that the metaphysical elements of Give Up the Ghost were important. So I don't know if the West can do it because the West doesn't have any articulated conception of self. Um, something I talk about in an essay, but I pointed out to Cinder, and sorry, I'll close on this with this, like for this question, but Mishima pointed this out, that the Greeks, this is a very Western thing, the Greeks had marble statues, and what was valuable to us even now is to be the original, right? It's to endure. It's to be a representative of that time and place and to have survived it and to be one of one. And Mishima pointed out that Japanese monuments, Japanese shrines, right? They're all wood. And what this allows them is to follow, the cycle of existence where perhaps they rot, perhaps they fall into decay, perhaps they're burned, perhaps they get destroyed in a war, right? But what's conceptually most important and pertinent is the fact that they can be reproduced, and that the impetus on their creation is not to be the original, but to be a continuation and a renewal, right? Not a resurrection,
Okay, I see.
right? But a renewal of what existed before, a continuation. And I don't know if Western civilization can overcome that. I think can you make some really, really dope art? By sort of considering that mindset and trying to see what the implications that are for if you were to look at it with with Western eyes, with some other Western sensibilities, sure. But I do think it has to. I mean, if we can come up with a Western version of anime, then we've solved most of our problems.
Well, yeah, I
If that
guess
makes sense.
I
Bring,
I don't
brings
know
us
how.
back to the atomic bomb question.
I guess what I'm saying is there's like for at least for me, like I feel like kind of anime kind of has nothing interesting to say at this point because we've kind of ran through like all the things and they've gotten to isekai nonsense, and I'm not even saying that like Western art is good necessarily because I don't think it is. What like, I guess at this point I
Sure.
feel like
It is a
politics.
slave. It's a slave to tropes by this point. I agree with that.
Yeah, but I guess that's why I feel like the right wing, like the underground, has like something interesting about it in the sense that like if you consider like I feel like people say there's no monoculture, but like politics is the monoculture. So I'm kind of like obsessed with finding out like how to put politics into art without like making it gay. Because I feel like it's ahead of the curve. Like if we could just find a way to do it, like the first guy that can make like a work of fiction with like a slur popular is like gonna reap millions. Like I feel like that's what's ahead of the curve. I do agree that like
Mm.
Asia, like if you're studying aesthetics, they're bomb ass, bro. Like go to art station, they kill everybody. you
Mhm.
know.
No, for
So
sure, for sure.
it's just how do we get ahead of the curve? Because I'm I'm not satisfied with just like saying, "Oh, Japan's great." I want to beat the Japanese, and like I think politics is like the only avenue. It's our only thing that we understand that they don't understand that we can
Yeah,
like take
I
them
don't
out
know,
with.
man, because I would go back to I think that the politics have now been defined.
Okay.
All right, and I think that I think I mentioned earlier, like I find that very liberating because no, the chaos and the shifting, the paradigm shifts aren't nothing's changing now. Right, the last 10 years,
Sure.
I think there's been a huge vibe shift, not only with Trump's win, but the fact that there's a vibe. It feels to me, at least, especially people online, ironically, is it sort of feels like everyone kind of feels like they like woke up after some long, crazy
Yeah.
shit, and now like where everyone's waking up, and a lot of people are kind of deciding that they didn't like a lot of the shit that they were subjected to 10 years for 10 years.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I guess my question is
That's
like,
kind of where we're at, and I think that's good, right? Everyone can kind of take a breath for the first time, and then in 4 years we're all going to the gulags, but for the time being.
yeah. But I guess my
No,
question is like,
I
in
agree.
anime, is there a movement forward? Because like you keep reading about like these simp characters in anime, and they haven't moved forward with like a concept like hypergamy, which I feel like could be very interesting. Like if there was an anime, maybe I just don't know. Maybe I'm not underground or to enough like, to know, but it's like women are
I
still
want
great,
Western
men.
harems, god damn it.
Yeah, I guess that is like a form, but like, is it accurately? Maybe realism sucks, you know.
No, but okay, I see what you're saying. Here's the thing, right? I think you're right that anime has reached a zenith, right? Although I still I love Demon Slayer. I don't care what anyone says.
Yeah,
I
dude, I
love
love
Demon
anime.
Slayer.
You know.
But no, what? Okay, let's think about it like this. What exactly did anime do for Japan,
Okay.
right?
Yeah.
And then this is why I mentioned 9/11 earlier too. I think there's a parallel. What can it do for us? So no, we can't copy anime,
Yeah.
but in the same way, like Cthulhu was ahead of the curve. The opening thing of Cthulhu is that the subjective experience of the internet returns us to the perspective of the ancients and basically removes any concern for scientific objectivism. And by doing so, we return to a world of myth and gods and truth.
Hmm.
And I think, and I'm very excited. Like now we're dealing in my wheelhouse, right? In the William Blake inspired wheelhouse, especially where we man, I hope y'all get excited about this. Like we're living in a world, right? Let's say the paradigm shift has happened.
Yeah.
We are now in a world where we don't have language, we don't have the language, we don't have the narratives to talk about the shit that we've gone through, to talk about the things that have changed, to talk about the things that no one has talked about yet. And that's exactly and literally what art is for. And
Yeah.
to do so, you have to exist outside of the machine. You can't be writing clickbait articles where you end it with, and that's a good thing, right? Or we need to talk about. You can't do it. And so we're like in the right, whatever, us, the people that are outside of this shit, not conservatives, they're screwed. Right? Like we're primed to explore that. And arguably, right leaning is the only people that could, because the right is the only one that can have that articulation of self to walk forward. This is post heresy, to walk forward into the void and fulfill it. And that is the true act of God, right? You walk into a void and you shape it, right? That's masculine. And I think to do that, it starts with, and this is directly related to anime and especially aesthetics, is for the West to do that, it has to start with, in the same way that everything started with religion, with myth, right? The Aeneid, the gods, like the Aeneid started off Rome, all that shit, right? Even the Renaissance, like everything, like look at the cycles, man. Everything comes back to the Greeks, right? Because that's the cycle of Western civilization. It dies, and then it goes back to rediscovering the Greeks, and then it comes back.
Yeah. I
And so
think.
then we have to start with the fantastic and the mythical, is my point. And I think that that's where, because we're
Yeah.
still in an
I
image
agree.
based society, that's where anime as an inspiration, not as a copy, but as an inspiration comes in.
I
Does
think
that make sense?
I agree, and I think that what I would say is that I think the thing that anime has taught us, in my opinion, is that you need to kill arrogance. I think that for the longest time
That's
possible,
an interesting one.
like
Mm.
Americans would be like, we're the best, and just cause, and like they would get free passes. But like now it's undeniable. Like anime just kicks our ass every day. And I say that like the Japanese don't understand their politics. Like the real answer is they could. And the moment that they do, I'll say this: like I might as well give up art if they can like replicate our politics, because then we're just fucked. They're just better than us. Like that's it. And like the people on the right, I feel like they're still so arrogant. They're like, oh, eventually like people are gonna see that we're anti woke. I'm like, no, the Japanese are right there, bro. Like they can learn this shit any day, and you're just sitting here twiddling your thumbs, like doing dumbass shit. And I just feel like if they just had less arrogance, if they just studied like what makes anime good in the sense of like a structural sense, and like maybe how they structure their businesses, how they structure plots, all that shit. Like we would be in a much better place than saying, oh, I'm from the West and Japan is all that weird shit, yo. You know, uh, so
Yeah. I mean, there are certainly benefits to collectivism, and I think a lot of the ists that the West is turning towards sort of are realizing that out of necessity. Um, I think that, like, when your civilization is declined is not the time to be arrogant, for sure.
Yeah.
And especially when it's all based on the past, right? I mentioned that in the newest Gonzo thing too. So I don't know, man. I don't know, because a lot of the answers, like even when we're talking about marriage of heaven and hell, when we're talking about the articulation of the left and the right, it seems to go towards, and this is like a layman's meaning, but it seems to go towards like some towards like conceptions of Taoism, right? And that's like the biggest difference, where is there balance? Even Mushishi, right? The anime I mentioned, right? That Jesse saw, like, is there balance? Correct it, right? Versus, are you a part of nature? Are you a continuation of this thing? Are you not? And the West is decidedly, I am not. And so there's this like assertion of self that recently, right, within the past few hundred years, has had incredible consequences for Western civilization. I'm not taking about anything away from sort of the beauty and accomplishments of the West. What I'm also saying is that here, you know what? Let me sort of wake myself up with like just sharing my true my most schizo theory. And I say this like in absolute sincerity. And at
Okay.
one point, like Charlotte Thing kind of like made like a joke about it, I think. But I didn't get this from him. He was talking about San Francisco, like demographics, I think. I see Western civilization, and this I mean this very broadly, because I don't know what it means. I don't know how these two things happen. I see Western civilization as the true epitome of the eternal masculine. I see Eastern civilization as the epitome of the eternal feminine. And every other civilization in the world, if you would call it that, is shall we say, of the earth. And I think that it is only, and I don't know if this is culturally, I don't know if this is through conquest, I don't know if this is macro, micro, I don't really care. But only when those two cultures sort of conjoin do I think that humanity sort of achieves its apotheosis, if that's the correct word, and sort of like does the whole go to the stars thing. I think that that's the inevitable happy end of humanity as we know it, and then we become intergalactic. Even if whether that's returning to being the Hyperboreans, whatever, I don't care. But I really do. I think that that's where it all
The
goes.
true Hyperborean is the kid you had with your Japanese wife. Is the Hapa?
That's it, bro.
Yeah, cultural appropriation is actually a positive, forward, evolving sort of thing.
I mean, it always is, man. That's the inevitability, right?
Yeah.
Things change. I've criticized the South for the same shit. Oh yeah, I remember when my grandma made cornbread. Yeah, but you don't remember when your mom did. You know what I mean? Like, it's just drop it, man. You have to project shit. You have to go out there and see what are the meta narratives, what are the realities, those universal truths that are at play, right? And what people, civilizations, rules, cultures are actually fucking with them.
Yeah. I think that's a. We got to get back to the plot. We just went off
All
a
right.
side.
Yeah,
I
our cultures need to fuck. That's all.
I
That's
did I,
the main takeaway.
I did have a question though. Like, what's your favorite anime of all time? Since, you're such a huge anime fan. I just wanted to know like what
Oh yeah, yeah.
Of all time,
just your faves. Your canon, the P.C.M. Christ canon of anime. Like what people should watch.
one that had a really, really big effect on me was Speed Grapher. Have you ever seen that?
I've never heard of this.
No,
The
I
reason
know
why
the title.
Yeah, Speed Grapher. I can't remember when it was made, man. It's gnarly. It's got like this sort of
Oh,
haze
whoa.
to the whole
Oh,
thing.
this looks dope.
The
Yeah,
main
this looks
character is a photojournalist. Like they're kind of a classic anime thing where like their deepest desires are expressed through like an item or through an action. And he was a war journalist, and so fate basically decides that what he really wanted was to see explosions and people die. So he uses his camera and can create explosions.
holy
And then
shit.
yeah, and I mean, and it's nowhere near that simple because then he gets sort of involved in like sort of like an Epstein-ish, like Illuminati thing inside of
What?
the city because he's supposed to be an actual journalist.
Dude, I'm watching
And
this
it
tonight.
involves an actual angel. Like it's badass, bro. It's
As soon as
badass.
we got off this call, I'm watching it.
Yeah, no, it's Speed Grapher, man. It's great. It's great.
Hell
It was one of my introductions to sort of an anime that like um just like kind of went there that I hadn't heard of. You know, like you hear about Perfect Blue, or I mean, I've seen all of them, but
right.
it was. So you go with something like Perfect Blue, which is like realism as hell, right? It's capital R. Or then you go with Evangelion, which is like total anime. Speed Grapher was both, especially when you find out the other people that have their deepest desires granted. It just goes places that anime would while it's still kind of based in reality. Does that make sense? Like it's that
Yeah.
mesh that I really like.
It's the white
Um,
and the Asian again. It's the Hoppa
The hyper, the
oh,
extreme
Angel
hyper
Beats.
reality.
No, I
I'm
believe it
sorry.
though. What?
I'm sorry. I didn't hear what you said, Jesse.
Oh, yeah. I was just saying the mix of the Eastern sensational hyper reality with the grounded,
Yeah,
natural.
Dude,
yeah.
I
I
think we
didn't
need
want
to
it to
like make
commit
this
all the
a
way.
I think we need to make this like a real meme. Like this is the true Hyperborean is the Hoppa. Like I feel like that
Dude,
could be a real
that's why
thing.
I told Cinnamon, man. I was like, on a long enough timeline, like it's kind of Hoppa versus like Mulatto.
This is crazy. This is
There's
even like
only
Like, is
one
it not?
winner. There's only
Like,
one
is it
true answer.
not? Like for my namesake, I'll always love Angel Beats.
Yeah,
okay.
dude. Oh, Angel
That's
Beats is
that's where my
devastating.
handle comes from. I don't know if y'all knew that.
Not I've
Oh,
never
really?
watched Angel Beats.
Yeah, please call me Christ
That comes from the anime?
from Angel Beats. Yeah,
What part?
it's I don't even remember his real name. It's the hacker guy that's always on the computer. He pushes his glass whenever he's introduced into a scene. He pushes his glass up, and because his online handle is Christ, but he has a
Okay.
real name, but he prefers his online handle. So like every time he's introduced to a new character, he pushes his glasses up and says, "Please call me Christ."
Wow,
He's on
man.
YouTube. Yeah, if you look him up, just look up "Please Call Me Christ" on YouTube. It'll
Bro,
have him.
how many people don't know this actually? They just think you're like doing your William Blake heretical shit and it's like, no, bro. It's an
It's from
anime.
an anime. It's from Angel Beats, man. Which
Man,
Angel Beats itself is great. It's a great anime for
yeah,
sure.
I totally forgot that aspect of it, but yeah, I remember when I first saw Angel Beats in high school and just it completely destroying me, and like I just like one by one showed it to each person in my friend group and
Right.
obliterated them for days.
So
Like,
good, man. It's
yeah,
so
they just
good.
so destroyed emotionally by that show.
Mm. See what else. Did I
Yeah,
say Elfen Lead? I'm just,
Elfin Lied.
Ooh.
I'm just, I'm just
I was
playing. I'm just
reading the
playing.
comic for that
I had to
I
drop it.
year, and I was telling Ping about it. I'm like, man, this is hard to read. This is like this is some
Elfen Lead's
tricky.
fucked.
Yeah, it's fucked.
Bro, that's why I never read it, I
um,
think. I heard people say it was fucked. I was like, yeah, I don't think so.
I'm like, this author just like his inherent kinks are on full display, and they are
for
like
sure.
truly
For
fucked.
There's also one. God damn, what is it called? Well, I really like Monster. Have y'all seen Monster?
Okay.
Yeah, Monster's great.
Yeah, Monster's dope.
Monster is really good. Um, there's a dude, I can't remember what it's called, man. Have y'all ever heard of Project Ito?
No.
Sounds familiar.
He did. Let me look it up, man. Because well, he unfortunately, man, he died only after like 3 books, man.
Oh shit.
Honestly,
Let's
at this
see what
point,
else did he
Jesse, you're
do.
probably a bigger anime
He
fan
did.
than I am.
They made it's called a Genocidal Organ and Harmony. His
Oh,
novels are good. He's actually a novelist, man. But then they made books or animes out of Genocidal Organ. That was gnarly as shit. That's
okay.
like a war,
Oh,
war
Keikaku
anime.
Ito? Is that what it is?
Project Ito, yeah, ITA Project and
Oh,
ITOH.
okay. Project Ito. Okay, I see.
Yeah, that one's gnarly, man. Like, and that's I don't know how good the anime is, like really, because I was so biased because he did that, and then he like died right after I read that book.
Oh wow.
Oh shit.
But that's pretty badass. I like classic sort of like right wing Twitter, but I like Jinto Wolf Brigade.
Oh
I,
yeah.
I love that one, man. It's just fun.
Aesthetic. I never watched it, but aesthetics on point.
Do you
It's
ever
pretty
see
good.
Gantz?
Say what?
Did you ever see Gantz?
Gant? GANT?
TZ Gantz.
Oh.
Gantz keynote. Gantz keynote for sure.
Let me see.
Yeah.
I do like definitely Berserk too. I really like the Berserk 97.
Berserk is cool. Yeah, I've only read a little bit of the manga.
I'm
Manga's really good, man.
I'm gonna be a contrarian here.
I haven't seen Gantz, dude.
Oh,
It looks badass.
Gantz
Say
is
that. What
awesome.
about Gantz? Sorry, but I didn't hear you, PCM.
I haven't seen Gantz. I'm looking at the images of it right now. It looks great. I haven't seen
Oh
it though.
yeah, it's all about like when you die, your soul gets like sent to a little room, and it's like you and a bunch of other people that died that day, and then you like jack into like in all you like jack into the spirit world basically, and have to like fight and kill like aliens and shit, and it's super gory and over the top, and great drama and sex and all kinds of stuff. So I think you
Nice.
should definitely check that out.
Nice. All right, I've made my decision. Probably, and I didn't want to include it because it's not they never finished it, which will drive you mad.
Yeah.
But it's called Shigeru Death Frenzy.
Hmm.
Have you seen this?
Mm-mm.
Holy shit, man! Like it's so good, dude. It's I don't know. I'm not enough of a weeb to know the dynasty period, but it's maybe that's the thing. Anyways, so it's sort of like it's during the place in samurai. There's like warring schools of not martial arts in like the wuxia Chinese sense, but like actual like swords, right? But it's like warring schools of martial arts, and it opens and everything is corrupt, and it follows 2 characters, one of whom is sort of like the princeling of this martial arts school, who is led by a true master, but he's like just gone absolutely insane. Like he's like lucid like once a year. And so this princeling is sort of like holding the entire thing down. And then a sort of vagabond, unorthodox style, really good martial artist. Like, these are all swords, by the way. But just like an insane dude. Basically, he challenges the martial arts school as they would, and he's not of a martial arts school, right? He's totally himself, and he gets beaten. On joining, and the story that the anime covers, the manga finished, the anime did not. But the story that the anime covers, because y'all need to see the anime. The manga is great, but definitely watch the anime too. Is basically downfall, destruction, rise of the martial arts school, all underneath the tensions and backstabbings and everything else between these two characters inside of it, while also existing outside, like while still having to interact with the world as like cohesive martial arts school. It's badass. There's one like scene that like kind of drives it home where one of the I won't do any spoilers. Like one of the characters gets called to another like rival art school or rival fighting school, and they want to introduce him. They want to fight him, like, prove your battle medal, blah blah blah. But his enemy is like this gnarly little bald dude who has like become like really good with like a French rapier, right? Like the one used for jousting, like just the straight shot. So like there's this entire exposition on like the dude talking about this versus a katana, and like the whole episode is great. But yeah, watch that, man. I don't know if I sold it like I should, but
You know,
it
it
is
sounds tight.
incredible. Just watch. If you watch, I swear on everything, bro. If you watch the first episode, you will not stop.
It's over.
Okay.
Right? Like all you have to do is watch like the first 10 minutes of that episode, and you'll be like, okay, I get it.
Hell yeah, dude.
So yeah, that's definitely one of my tops. The anime is sick, dude. It's like the actual animation, like the direction of it, the story, everything about it is Kino, pure Kino.
All right.
That might be my favorite of all time, but they didn't finish it, so you're like left off with like kind of like shit.
But they can read the manga, right? If they want to finish the story.
Correct.
Okay, so you can read the manga after, but all right.
Right, but I really wish they'd finished. But yeah, dude, I don't even know why they didn't, to be honest with you. Yeah, SHIGURUI Death Frenzy. It's on Crunchyroll.
Yeah. All right.
Don't use Crunchyroll, bro.
From the side tangent, we gotta go back. Where were we in the story, Jesse?
What book?
Like last thing I think we talked about was the I just think I just asked about William Blake, and we just got just so
Yeah.
Damn.
The philosophy. Well, I was gonna say that I like the part about the book is that people on the Tukey's back were complaining like, why is it that there's the philosophy and the real life? But I feel like that's why it's good, because it is like, I like it when things mirror each other. Like it is the philosophy of William Blake, but in the book, like it makes sense. People think that's a negative. I think that's a positive.
Yeah, and I felt that it vindicated the entire journey. Honestly, it just like it gave it all meaning and informed the whole thing. So I like the structure of it. I thought it was unique to itself and very specific in a very spiritual sort of way. Man, I gotta say some of the violence was so creative in a very evil way, because like clearly the point is to like defile nature and to be an inversion of nature. So I mean, some of those passages were outright totally transgressive and totally brutal.
Yeah, but I like I didn't expect it, man. Like I thought the shed scene was kind of the only thing, but I got 4, and this is like coming from like right wing people. Like I got 4 content warnings on reviews.
What?
I was like, wow, and I'm not even mad at him, man. I just like really it never crossed my mind.
Well, it's just like all the murders are so descriptive in a way that is like they're just man, they really do feel like ripped out of the pages of like some serial killer manifesto or something. Like,
yeah, and the autopsy, that shit was crazy.
Yeah,
broke my heart, man. The autopsy killed me.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it was with Thickhawk, like one of my first interview that I did about it, right? And he specifically mentioned the autopsy. And he asked, like, because the for those who haven't read it, like, I mean, I'm a lover of prose, and imagery, and he asked about that, and like, how was it to write such a thing, and sort of what are my thoughts are on it, and I think that this fits perfectly with what you talked about earlier, Jesse, where the sort of, I felt like real love and like responsibility for Osby.
Hmm.
And so, like, the only way that I could communicate the horror, and because it's also mirroring, it has to mirror, the whole book was intended for, even like the sort of schizo spiritual experience was hopefully to allow the reader to experience it as AR did.
Hmm.
Yes.
And the only way I could write something like that was to sort of like, how do I put this? Um, to add, because it's almost like kind of like a pretty language, um, but the only way to like consider her as a person, having been a person, is to add that layer of softness while also still being like absolutely brutal.
Hmm.
I'm obsessed with the concept that I just simply call like visceral beauty. Like it has to, you read the book. Like I'm kind of obsessed with binaries,
Yeah.
Yeah.
and it has to be visceral, but it has to be beautiful too. Otherwise, I do think it becomes like dehumanizing or sadistic, like you talked about.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Okay, I see. Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah,
And
that
then
might
it
be.
just for AR, even the shed was like AR has to like experience like pure evil. Like there's just nothing redeeming about it.
Yeah.
Yeah, that must be why. Like because that was something I noticed about. Like the prose is really good, and I was like, oh, okay. So now that you're explaining, it's like you're actively using the dichotomies in the prose. That makes sense into how it works. Also, like,
Yeah,
Yeah, I think so.
you can feel your love for that character, and the your the the your your commitment to the piece, to deliver the horror, whatever it needs to be, your commitment to see it through, to deliver this this idea of spiritual warfare. um yeah, I think it's a pretty noble undertaking, and I was very surprised and moved by those passages, so I think they were very, very effective. um Man, where did the ending come from? Where you before let's okay. I know that's kind of maybe a broader. Let's just talk about this for a second. So AR goes through this spiritual transformation. He and they finally discover who is the culprit, and it is a coven of obese witches who are transing. They're performing they're performing satanic inversions, and AR confronts an image of the Baphomet, in the form of this woman. They have an epic battle where he slays her in the cave. The cave metaphor is all there. And then the other two are rounded up by the small town department of cops, and they fucking hang them from the trees unceremoniously. And it's like it's very it's justice. Where did when how did you conceive of those images? At what point in the process of writing it did those images come to you? Yeah, I kind of want you to kind of go get into all that.
Yeah, man. Well, the ending, I don't even know if I should say this, like, you know, on a podcast that hopefully makes people buy the book. The ending was, I was least happy with the ending, right? And I think that I just got excited. I think that I would have kept everything as it is conceptually, right? Like everything
Okay.
you just mentioned, I would have kept that, but I would have probably written it better. Um, really excited, hurried through it. If I had had 2 more weeks, I think I would have been good. Or if I had given it 2 more weeks. But regardless, the ending was really, really difficult. And the reason that it was is because I had to finally bring the metaphysical and the realistic plots together. Like I had to bring them in. They had to sort of epitomize or to cohere at the end. Um so that's sort of like where it all came. Because then AR has the right, if you recall, right before he goes into the woods with the separately from the posse, is that's when he meets the angel and like finds out why like we all die.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
And so it's only then sort of having, I guess, having accepted death. But I'm glad that you mentioned like the witches because like they've been called a bunch of certain things. Although I kind of wanted to make it obvious, is they were obviously kind of like hermaphroditic. Well, they were literally, one of them was literally hermaphroditic.
Like the main one. You're right.
Yeah, but my point being is like it was never, it's going to be because the world we live in, it was never meant to be explicitly political. But because of what happened and because of who the victims that they were focused on and with the kids, then I asked myself, like, what do they look like? Who are the witches of our modern day? Like in a literal, in a real, like Hansel and Gretel, even like Northeastern kind of sense, right?
Yeah.
And that just kind of turns out that's who they are. Um, but the Baphomet stuff is, you know, I'm glad, like, it's a little obvious, but I'm glad you picked up on it. That's obviously what it was. But it had to be, that was really, this is where I tried to bring it together. And like I said, I don't know if I did exactly what I wanted to. That was the true Jesus 2.0 moment.
Okay, I see.
To where, okay, nice. So rather than like, you know, it's an obvious descent into hell. And rather than escape, overcome death, AR adopts the necessity of evil and turns it on itself. So it's sort of the Jungian synthesis of the shadow, but like on a spiritual level, where, you know, Christ like goes into hell and rather than like leave, he sort of like takes it over.
He kills all the demons.
Yeah, he goes, yeah. So he's like, because AR puts on the goat's head,
Yeah.
Oh,
and then
okay. Because that's
which,
something
like I
they
said, like that.
mentioned in the Tukey's mouth. They're like, why did they put the goat's head on? And it's like, oh,
Yeah,
okay.
they weren't happy with the ending either. I don't think.
He like
But
becomes one with the void
I
finally.
see.
yeah. So
Yeah.
rather than like return and like be this epitome, right? It's almost sort of like, you know, what Jesus would have done if he was actually human,
Okay, I see.
in my
No,
mind.
I think I can see their art, like I could see them like not liking that though, because even when reading it, like you had to explain it to me. I don't think that was clear that he was like putting on evil to become evil. Like there wasn't uh a moment where, it was clear. He just puts it on and you're like, okay, he puts it on and he takes it off. It's, you know,
For
like
sure. Yeah.
yeah.
Most people have told me that the reason like it's difficult is it's just not an accessible book.
Okay.
But yeah, because they know, if you recall, like, because I thought it was badass. Like, so he grabs it because it wasn't a goat's head, right? And so then he slays her, and then he grabs the knife and he sticks it in the side,
And that's what gives it horns.
and it becomes the horns. Yeah, and then he chases the other witch down, where they eventually run into Boss in the posse in the creek. That's when they like string him up with the trucks.
Right.
Um, so that was supposed to be his moment because I think the where it might have gotten a little lost. Although I can sort of tell what was on my mind, but if you recall, like the exorcism scene was his initial. That was his like he lost his loss of innocence, right? So that was his first act of self assertion.
Hmm.
And I think a lot of people like saw that as like, okay, he's like, big dick swinging now. But it wasn't that. It was that he actually became a person finally. Like the world and these narratives were no longer acting on him. And with the confrontation in hell with true evil, right? He confronts it. He's not being subjected to it. Like, like in all of his visions, right, is him being subjected, but he's also like encountering the narratives along. That's why you have the church, because here's all these narratives that mortals sort of deal with, all based on death and evil and good. And also, here's sort of our narrative response to it. And he finds none of these to be satisfactory until he talks to the peanut guy. And then
Yeah.
that's when he goes to the exorcism. And then at this last part, that's when, because that's why it was important, because he also goes in to save Lizzie, right? Like, so that was, now all of a sudden he's strong enough that he's not saving himself, he's going in to save somebody else. That's when he kind of, I guess that's probably like the hero arc.
Yeah. Okay. Makes sense.
I went all over the place a little bit. I hope that makes sense.
No, that made a lot of sense, I think.
I did want to bring up, since I did mention, I think the main criticism of the ending, which I do agree with on Tuki's back, was the way he finds out the witches is that he doesn't.
Yeah.
Essentially, they attack him. Um,
Right.
So, well, I guess my question would be, because I think you could solve the mystery from the clues you drop, like the bird watching, the syringes, like kind of maybe why include all of those hints if AR wasn't gonna figure it out like using logic at some point. I guess.
Yeah, I'm just not very good at plot, if I'm being real, man.
Okay.
I was trying. It just became like the other stuff, especially once I introduced Marilyn, and had like the visions. Like once I wrote the pig scene, like then that was when I was like, okay, this is like way more interesting to me.
That's fair.
And so the plot, they were right in that it's definitely, the plot is there as a vehicle for the ideas more than
Yes.
anything. Geo called it a
Right.
theory novel.
Yeah. That's
But
why
it doesn't
it
mean
doesn't
I
bother
didn't let
me.
them down. I mean, in that regard, I probably did, which, like I said, I shouldn't say on a podcast where people might read my book, but
But that's why it didn't bother me. Like I'm okay with the mystery not being like the thing. Like it's kind of tangential, but like the theory is what's most important, and I think you delivered on that, which is why I like it so much. But I
Right,
was,
because
yeah,
otherwise it would just be about giving you plot, beat to get you to, that finality. But it's not about that. It's about giving you that in small doses, and then all this extra, you know, reverence for nature and stuff.
yeah.
mm,
So, but everybody's first book has mistakes. Like I was reading through my book, I was like, "Fuck, like this shit sucks." So you know, but like I love this book. I really did. Like I thought this book was really good. There's like so many good descriptions and like, obviously I've been talking about. I love theory selling, and this book was like theory selling, and like as I was like, oh yeah, this is so great. When's the next time he's gonna talk about like his perceptions of life and shit, and all these different features and their philosophies? Like I was in it, bro.
that's
Yeah,
cool, man. That's really cool to hear.
same here. I knocked it out really fast because I was just vibing with it. I was really I just really dug it a lot. Definitely definitely hold it in high regards. And as far as like a lot of the shit I've read in this scene, definitely I really liked it.
Yeah, and also the
Damn, dude.
e-girl,
That
like
is cool.
an actual e-girl. Like everybody else is making their trad wives. I'm like, oh yes, PC, I made an e-girl. Thank you. Like,
Yeah, hot emo bitch.
Waffle House goth girl. Let's go.
With her cargo pants and her spaghetti straps and shit. Hell yeah.
Yeah.
See, you remember though, right? You remember.
Yeah, dude, and she was drinking a cherry Slurpee, and she got her lips stained red, and that was the moment he fell in love. Blah blah blah. And yeah, it's like I love all of the. I think a lot of the things that you find pleasurable to your brain, I also find pleasurable to my brain. So like
Yeah.
when I read things like Strawberry Lemonade and and just like just simple sensory things like like the cherry Slurpee, the stained lips, the just like the micro sensory things. I just find those very very pleasurable and enjoyable to read. And definitely.
Also, just speaking on the sisters, I kind of do wish the second sister was named Monroe because I feel like having the twins being named Marilyn Monroe, like it would have just mythologized it a bit more. But I don't know for legal reasons you couldn't do that. Like you had to pick Lizzie or something. I don't know.
Nah, you probably could have, man. It was really like here's the other thing too. Like which like Gabe kind of made fun of it for their last name being Bell, like the Southern Belle,
Yeah.
which I can get, but at the same time it feels like super noirish to me.
Yes.
Like I was like that's why I made it. It wasn't like trying to be clever. It's like, yeah, it sounds noirish to have someone named Bell, right? Maybe I not. But anyways,
Was having twins part of that noirish element, or is there like a thematic
yeah,
purpose
that
behind
one
that?
worked out because it kind of served both
Okay.
of the vibes, like the metaphysical Jungian stuff and all that. No, but to answer your question, man, like even something like that, it crossed my mind.
Yeah.
But I'm gonna be real, and y'all have actually been incredibly gracious in this regard. I was admittedly kind of ignorant to it. Um, it is remarkable the stereotypes and knee jerk reactions and presumptions that you get when you're Southern or when you write a Southern story.
Okay.
And the reason I chose in the end not to do something like that, which I guess I even went too far with the Bell thing, is that just people assume that you're kind of retarded. Like not even me, but like by naming them Marilyn and Monroe, then people will assume like it's like that they have dumb Southern parents.
Oh, okay.
Does
I,
that
I
make
I
sense?
can
So
I can see
it's
that.
a weird thing to be aware of, man. It's almost like black people's white voice. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Which you have to be really careful because even something that's supposed to be funny or cool or just like whatever it has all these implications where people like like dumb, okay, so they had dumb, they're probably from the trailer park, you know what I mean?
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, like
I get
people are like that. I had no idea, but people are really like that about the South.
I can understand that, but like, maybe we just think different. Like, cause like I'm like, oh, the mythology, that's so cool, you know. But other people are like, well, they're inbred. It's like, fuck, that's just weird.
I mean, if my book, like not being a Southern writer, but if my book contributed to like the South being better appreciated, then that's a pretty big deal for me.
No, that's good.
Yeah, I think a lot of people are very easily dismissive of Southern characters and can easily just write them off as white trash or like Hicks or something like that. But it's a total disservice to not to view the humanity or whatever going on in those
Mm.
characters.
And I did not have those characters in my book. I just want to be clear. Well, that's one
Definitely.
reason. That's one reason. Like I don't consider myself a Southern writer. Is I'm just
Yeah.
tired of like dealing with it. You know what I mean? Like I don't want to have those kind of considerations to where like, because the funny thing is like Southerners. I mean, understandably so, but like Southerners love my book, right? Like a lot of people have already told me like, hey man, I got some cousins or Boss reminds me of one of my best friends. But Boss wasn't like a hick either. You know what I mean? Boss is a fully fledged character. He's just a country boy.
Yeah, they're all fully like rounded people. Like I don't see any of them as like as stereotypes. Really, they're all very individualistic people.
That is
Yeah.
wonderful to hear.
No, that's good. Yeah, you're right. At no point did I think like any of these people were like Shucks Hicks people. They all had different ideas, and even I guess the closest would be like the Peanut preacher, maybe. But he had his own interesting thing with like splitting the Bible in half and stuff like that. So
Yeah, and that one I kind of had to do just because I don't unless he had because when I did the church right, if like my little Pope stand-in,
yeah,
like
yeah, yeah.
he had the funny part is when AR gets led like back into his office. That's like a accurate description of like walking through to the balcony to St. Peter's Square. So, a little bit of lore there. It's not about evangelical mega churches. It's about the Catholic Church.
Oh shit. That means I'm in the clear. No, it's just fucking.
But I had to. I couldn't pull off the. Yeah, the is definitely the most southern, but I couldn't pull off that bombacity and that scale of a message without having a guy who kind of fit the person who would be singing, talking hellfire and brimstone.
Yeah. Well, that makes sense. Um, I gotta say my favorite was probably the Waffle House Street Preacher of all the. Is he just carrying a cross while like talking about how awesome Waffle House is? That shit was dope.
Yeah. Oh, do you know the lore though?
Waffle House?
No, of that little speech that he does.
No.
You know Zante?
Who is Zante?
He runs Mytho America.
Okay, I don't know this guy. I'm not that plugged in.
Oh man.
Oh wow, no, that's fine, man. That's fine. He's been doing other projects, but do you know Mytho America?
Mm-mm.
I don't think so. No.
Shit. All right, never mind. That's fine. So he
We're
did
not
it.
conservative. No.
No, check out Mytho America, man. It's an incredible account.
Okay.
But so Zante wrote an essay called "The Metaphysics of Waffle House," and I talked to him. Like he's a good friend of mine, and so I talked to him about basically using like the sentences, like the paragraphs that I wanted to. So that, and it was like a postmodern thing, like cross-referencing. So that actual speech is a edited version of part of Zante's Metaphysics of Waffle House.
I'm checking it out
Wow.
right now. This shit is
That's
dope.
amazing.
I mean,
That's so crazy.
post this.
Yep, that's the one.
All right, yeah. No, it looks cool. Yeah. Cause like Waffle House is such an icon. I mean, I'm gonna a little bit. There is my own version of Waffle House in the next book that I'm writing. I think Jesse, you've read it, right? So one of the
Yes,
things
yeah.
is like Waffle House is just iconic, and I don't know why it's so pervasive. Like it's just like even is it more like American than McDonald's? I don't know.
Oh
But
hell yeah, dude! It's like the only
Yeah,
actual
yeah.
remaining diner
definitely. Yeah.
for sure. And I like it online. At least it gets its reputation for fights. I've been going to Waffle House my entire life, and I've never been in one where there's a fight.
Okay.
Dude, I've seen videos of heavy metal bands playing at Waffle Houses.
Yeah, dude, Waffle House is the shit, man. Like,
Yeah.
especially like back in the day. Like, that's the thing is like Waffle House like just doesn't give a shit. They're all 24/7. Now things have changed since COVID a little bit, but back in the day, like when everyone was like smoking cigarettes and like social media wasn't a thing, like in a real way, dude. I mean, you can go. It doesn't matter what substance you go to Waffle House on, man. Like you're not like it's vibes. You know what I mean? Like I've never been sketching a Waffle House my entire life.
It's like as American as a Cracker Barrel.
Yeah.
I do like Cracker Barrel too. I will admit that.
Every time I go there.
Old
It's,
Cracker Barrel.
Yeah, old Cracker Barrel.
Not the
Like
new.
old Cracker Barrel. The reason I like it is like it's the only thing that has like it has old people vibes.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, like when I walk in, I feel like going like my grandparents. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like it's super chill. I've done that, man. Like if I'm like overwhelmed by modernity, like I'm just gonna go Cracker Barrel.
That's amazing. So you reset, yeah, from the modern world
Oh yeah, dude.
until you see like a black teenager who fucks up your order.
Right. Well, now they changed it so they got like Impossible Sausage, and they're trying to do like brunch drinks. And I'm like, you
Oh,
dude, y'all are so freaking retarded. Well, I mean, you remember the controversy with the relabeling,
yeah.
like the
Oh yeah,
relabeling.
yeah,
That was a big deal.
yeah.
And so, dude, y'all are retarded, man. Like the menu keeps getting smaller. Right? You know, everything's shit, but
Like
I
sometimes
still go there on
some
occasion.
sometimes things just need to die. Like I'm not
Hmm.
saying like Cracker
Not
Barrel like
Cracker Barrel or Waffle House, bro.
I just say like because the only reason why they did the new logo was like, oh, our IPO needs the stocks to go up, so this is the way to revitalize it. It's like
Right,
I don't
right. Well, same reason they did brunch, right? Cracker Barrel's
yeah
not a brunch spot. No one goes to Cracker Barrel for brunch,
I
which is
don't
stupid
know
too, because
yeah
Can you
Cracker Barrels are
imagine?
literally all by the interstate. There is no Cracker Barrel in the city limits. They're all on the interstate. No one's
Right.
freaking having brunch on the interstate.
yeah so just like I don't know how
I
you
wish
could
they would pay me,
revitalize
bro.
Waffle House or Cracker Barrel. Like I don't know if the numbers are going down, maybe it's time to kill it. I don't know. Barrel. I don't know.
Waffle House is interesting in that you can only own a Waffle House if you've actually worked there for so long.
Really? Okay.
Wow.
Yeah, yeah, that's one reason that they are how they are. Is because you have to work at Waffle House before you can buy one.
That probably
Has to
moves.
be in the
That's
family.
yeah. That makes sense.
It's not,
Why
and it's
like
not
yeah.
like 6 months either. You know what I mean?
No, that makes sense. Why it's still successful probably because they have people who understand what makes it work rather than like some dude that just flew in to like
Mm.
take over management.
Mhm.
Yeah, Atlanta's special, man. Atlanta really is. Like as far as shit like that goes, like Chick-fil-A's from down here, Waffle House is from down
Yeah,
here,
Chick-fil-A's the
Coke from
bomb.
down here. Yeah, I mean, certain things just endure, I guess. Atlanta's, Georgia in general, like as far as a southern state goes, which is, well, you know, like I don't even live there anymore, man. I miss it dearly, but I've realized that after the fact that like Give Up the Ghost was a love letter to Georgia for
Hmm.
sure,
Okay.
and to Atlanta, especially Georgia. But
No, that makes sense. Like, oh, wait, was there peaches? I feel like there was peaches.
no, I didn't put peaches.
Fuck.
I did do boiled peanuts though. I did boiled peanuts. I didn't do peaches.
I was
No, but
misremembering.
yeah, your love for hot summer nights and and like the stickiness and there's just a total love and a reverence for every aspect of it.
Mm.
Are we gonna get like
Yeah.
the continuation though? Like, is the next Go Up the Ghost gonna have like a Chick-fil-A goth girl? Like,
Oh, be my pleasure. That's funny. Dude, I don't know, man. Like some people have asked me about like, like I could, especially like in the noir tradition, like, I could keep taking AR, keep going back to it.
yeah,
Right now, I got other projects, but it started with I've calmed down now, but I kind of just like really, really didn't like being pigeonholed as like a Southern writer. And so maybe I'll come back to it. The thing is, I don't know as though it would be the same book. You know what I mean? Like
yeah,
you can only write a story like obsessed with death to that degree once. You know what I mean? So, and since the plot didn't really matter, I don't know if I could come back to it.
yeah.
Are
I
you
mean,
writing another noir?
What?
Are you writing another noir?
No, no, no.
Okay.
The next thing I'm writing has nothing to do with the South or with noir.
no, I think that's good. Because I feel like Give Up the Ghost kind of stand on its own. Like it doesn't like I feel like the story is finished. It doesn't need anything else really.
Yeah.
Um,
Mm. I'm glad y'all feel that way, like for the
Yeah.
book and plus for me too, because I don't really want to go back to it. I don't think, like in that way.
I will say this kind of confused me just a little bit, but if I'm understanding this right, like in the back of the book it mentions not the back, but like near the end they mentioned like if Lizzie had died, then she would have been 6 minutes apart. Like, is that accurate? Like, she's actually still alive. She's not dead, right?
No. The implication was because they're twins. They were born
You would
6 minutes apart.
Yeah.
They were born 6 minutes apart, and so they would have actually, if she had died, it would have been 6 minutes apart
Okay, so it would've been okay. Yeah, that's how I read. I just wanted to make sure because
on the time. Yeah.
I was confused
So
for a
just
second.
a little bit of synchronicity.
Mhm.
Okay. So
Which I do.
characters
That's
dead.
I haven't thought about the book in a while, man. Like I really. Yeah, I'm sorry, man. I'm just kind of reminiscing now. I haven't thought about it in a while. Like I just like Johnny Collard Green just popped into mind.
Oh yeah. Yeah, he was a
The
great
scene
character.
where,
The Grinch.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. And then when Lizzie comes to visit AR in his bedroom when he's like lost his shit. Yeah. Sorry,
And
man.
he's like,
My bad. I'm just kind of talking. I haven't
no,
thought about
no,
that for a
that
while.
scene is great because he's like, it kind of sucks. I actually, I stayed home so I could fuck her, but she went up to your room. So
He was pissed.
he was like, oh, all right.
I'm
Damn.
not gonna share my bong now.
Yeah. Yeah, I thought he was a pretty funny character.
No, but it makes
Man,
sense
yeah.
because he is the soy boy libtard. He would get cupped. It all. He's chasing pussy, but he doesn't realize.
Well, he has the exact opposite take on like nature and straight lines. So I feel like that was kind of a clue as to okay, so he's clearly like he falls like on the opposite side of thinking or something.
He would probably get shot and killed in the ice riots. He would go out there.
Become a martyr.
Yeah, but I'm on your side.
um yeah, do we have any more thoughts on Give Up the Ghost?
Oh, I did want to say I did like how you did Raising Cane's. I thought that was a good reference. I like that. That was a title.
What is it?
Raising Cane's. You did the
For
Raising
for,
Cane title.
for which chapter was that?
I
Oh,
think it's
Raising Cain was a chapter title.
yeah, and that's like referencing the restaurant, right? Am I retarded?
What is it?
Raising. Have you never heard of Raising Cane's restaurant?
No, dude.
No,
Bro, this whole entire time. Oh,
I
how do I?
don't know, the old school, like like Raising Hell, Raising Cain.
No, there's a restaurant called Raising
like a
Cane's
chicken place, right?
Really?
where they let me see. They sell fried chicken and shit. I don't know if it's in the South or
Yeah.
something. Like their
Fried
whole thing
chicken.
is eating chicken fingers. I thought you were referencing it. I was like, oh, this is like Southern. That's kind of funny.
Also,
So it's like a chicken tender spot.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I've been in chicken tender spots. Those are pretty good. I've never been Raising Cane's though.
and then the
That's
title,
funny.
"The Pure and the Damned," was that is that a reference to something? Because I know a Iggy Pop song called "The Pure and the Damned."
Bro, y'all are my people, man. Let's go, Jesse.
Yo, is that what you were
That's
referencing?
exactly what it's a reference to.
Okay, me and you are brothers for life then.
Dude,
Okay,
for real,
because
man. Dude,
that song fucks
off
me
of
up.
Good Time.
Yeah, dude, I cry every time I listen to that song.
Dude, that song is amazing.
It is a
Absolutely amazing.
hefty song. Yeah. Wow. Okay, that made me feel pretty good because I mean, not only is
Hell
that
yeah.
chapter great, but the title was so fitting, and yeah, I was happy that you referenced it.
It is a direct reference to that song, man. That's
Hell,
awesome.
fucking yeah, dude, nice. Yeah,
So
King,
good.
you gotta listen to that song.
Okay, you
It's
gotta
crazy.
post it. I'll listen to it after.
Yeah,
Man,
I'll
it's
drop the
brutal, dude.
video.
Those open, you gotta listen to it with headphones though.
Okay.
Yes,
Let's do it with headphones
definitely.
because it's what's his face. It's 7 Autrix or whatever.
Yeah, 103 Point Never.
Yeah,
Him and
with
Iggy
featuring
Pop.
Iggy Pop. Yeah.
Yeah, dude. Oof. So what
Even
a
like the closing of the movie with that dude, like that took balls,
oh,
man.
I know, dude.
You hear that
It
chord
goes
and you're
so
just like,
hard.
it's over. It's over.
Dude, yeah, as he's just as the autists are playing the game where they go from one side of the room to the other, depending on
Yeah,
the question. And oh my god, dude, yeah, just
it's
pure
insane.
magic, pure magic.
Which,
Yeah.
dude, like, just a real quick aside, the ending of Good Times was gnarly. Like, if you
Dude,
really
I
think
know.
through it, like, for one, did you know that rapper? Do you know who that is? If you know
Oh,
this, man, holy shit. The guy
wait,
that had the Sprite bottle?
wait, the one, which one?
The dealer at the end.
Who, Buddy Duress?
Remember his name? I think so, yeah, with the beanie.
Yeah.
I can't remember him because I know who he is, like his other persona. That's why I
Okay.
can't remember his name. That is Necro from Psychological Records, like Ill Bill's brother. I don't know if you know Psychological Records. That's some deep dive shit. But yeah, that's actually Necro from like New York horrorcore scene.
Yeah, let me look this up.
Okay.
I forgot I could message you some shit.
I just
Yeah. Okay. Yep.
um
But yeah, King. Well, I'll definitely
yeah
I'll drop that. I'll
yeah.
drop that music. PCM, you drop some links too.
This kind of goes back to the murder mystery thing, but and so it might not be explained, but I did have a question about why they. So it seems like from what I read, the evil people, the witches, are like drawing attention by like telling Weinstein to go to the bird spot. Is there any reason why they'd like need him to know or need to show themselves as like evil revealing itself, or because it seems like if they didn't do that, they could just get away with killing people forever.
Right. And the reason that they did that because they wanted, if you remember the speech that like the Baphomet character gives at the end,
Oh no.
Yeah.
like
I
about
mean, I remember.
everything is nothing.
Okay.
Um, so in the end, it was kind of it was kind of like a different temptation of Christ,
Hmm.
where they directly this is why they killed Marilyn too, and they tried to kill Lizzie, is they were trying to enact his life to be a complete tragedy. Right?
Oh, okay.
It's sort of like it's a combination of like Jesus and Job.
I see. All right. Let me
So they
see.
actually, because that's why she gives the speech at the end, is they actually, the whole point, everything they were doing was to essentially do their version of breaking AR's faith.
Okay. So that's why it all revolves around him. That's okay. Because like some of
Right,
the
right. So they weren't
yeah,
some like chaotic evil force, right? They were like actually like ordered evil.
I see. Because like yeah, there was the one question about like there was one guy that was killed that had like Weinstein's hands in them, and I like kind of didn't understand why he needed to be killed, but if it's something to just pull AR in, I could see why.
Yeah, that was more of a plot device because they had to like keep killing.
Okay, I see. Yeah. Because every other killing made sense. But no, that's interesting that it's all ordered like so. It's like kind of a spiritual, of AR versus the witches, and like they're all. That's why the thing needs to be said. It's like a contention of heading on, going head to head of the
Right.
Okay,
Yeah, and the structure and the progression was sort of the Pilgrim's Progress thing that I
I
talked about
see.
earlier.
Yeah, yeah, that makes sense. Because
Which is
like
a
yeah,
shame no one reads books twice, man. I think if people read it twice, it would probably be pretty enjoyable.
yeah. Because I mean that makes sense. Like why it's not a murder mystery. Because like why would a murderer tell himself? But if you put it in the context of the philosophy, it makes so much more
Yeah.
sense. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I don't think I had any other notes on things to talk about.
Um, I did want to talk about two more things.
Okay.
Um,
Sure, man.
I want to talk about your Gonzo journalist Wicked reviews, which you've mentioned a few times, just because they're really great cultural think pieces as well. Um,
Thank
but yeah, if you kind of want to explain those a little bit, they're kind of contemporary noir comedies, uh, but in the style of Hunter S. Thompson, like essay or something.
Yeah, man. Well, I mentioned it because like a lot of things we're talking about, because I had just released one, what I think like 2 days ago, where I went and saw Wicked 2. or part two. So those are twofold. One, it was kind of me just like because I despise autofiction.
Let's go. Let's go. Fuck autofiction.
Well,
And so that was me. That was my version of like mocking them. Um, but the original sort of concept of the impetus to go was I saw a trailer for the original Wicked last year,
mhm.
and it was just like it was so good. Like as far as like craft goes, like like mirroring or like gathering disparate elements, like and then turning them into like a full blown like message.
Mhm.
And I was like, I tweeted, I was like if you can watch this trailer and you don't understand like why the left is winning, like you don't understand shit. And then I was like, you know what? I'm gonna go see it. I'm gonna go see it. I'm gonna report back to everyone. And it turned out because I had just written the book. This was like 3 months after the book came out. And and man, like I found a voice with those because there's three. There's another one coming out in about I have my Pulp Fiction, the prize winning Pulp Fiction story in 2 weeks, and then and after that, the fourth one.
Hell
But the
yeah.
first one was Wicked Part One. Then there was one. The second was when I went to McDonald's, and then the third, which I just released, was me seeing Wicked Part Two. And and like I said, they were supposed to make fun of autofiction and sort of like prove that I can do it better. But I found like a really strong voice for it. Like so the narrator is me, and it's like this he's like really like tries to be intellectual, but he's also like I don't even know how to describe it, man. No elevator pitch, dude. I have no elevator pitch at all. Um,
He's like a noir. He's like a dark, moody noir character. Like he hates his job.
yeah. But at the same time, like he makes the moodiness. He makes everything's a big deal to this guy. Like, everything is like worth thinking about, like an extra three sentences. So I guess that's what it is. It's a maximalist. Like he's a comical maximalist emo. And
Yeah.
it's been so much fun, man. Because then the fun comes from like the voice, but also like sort of putting myself in like these mundane situations. And I do it like I actually go like when I went and saw Wicked Part One. I went to McDonald's. I went and saw Wicked Part Two.
Yeah, I think they're really funny, and yeah, the sense of voice is super strong. Um, Something that I really appreciate about those, and that I've told you before, is you championing blue raspberry ices, which
Absolutely.
I think that needs to be like I think that on the right we all need to be pushing this. I think we need to push this as like a cultural aesthetic, like a cultural movement. We need to all be pushing the the absolute uh just like
Blue
the
raspberry supremacy.
dude, the way you described it as like the nectar of the gods, just like we do need to bring blue raspberry supremacy. Yeah, I mentioned it. I mentioned blue raspberry vodka in my book, but you just outright saying blue raspberry icy and just like and giving this soliloquy about just how profoundly beautiful it is. I thought it was moving and incredible to read.
Well, dude, it's thanks, man, and it's interesting too because like I love blue raspberry everything, man. Like blue
Same.
raspberry gum, blue raspberry lollipops, blue
Yeah.
raspberry ices, blue raspberry Jolly Ranchers,
Red Bull, everything.
I
dude. And
co-signed the
then that's
blue
the thing is
raspberry
like the
ices.
fascinating part about it is it's almost like there's like this whole idea that like the simulacra is like best epitomized by food flavors, right? Like so like here's a strawberry and then you label it's a strawberry but then eventually you lose what an actual strawberry tastes like, right?
Right.
there's no there's no basis for blue raspberry at all. It is an entirely synthetic flavor.
Yeah.
And so on that to that end, it exists outside of simulacra because it's not simulating anything. It's not symbol, it's nothing.
Oh shit.
That
You're right.
fascinates me. Not only, I mean, obviously it all starts with how good it tastes, but it really is interesting to me. Like the best possible synthetic flavor is the one that doesn't try to pretend to be the real one. like,
Bro, that's crazy.
and
It's just
now imagine though, if you would coming across, and this is where I kind of like went off because I was imagining such a thing. Like you're out walking through the mountains or like a park or something, and you come upon an actual blue raspberry bush. And I know that sounds like some stoner shit, but I'm saying if you love the flavor and you happen upon the real version, you imagine it to be even better than the fake one. So it's like, damn, but you'll never, but it's not real, so you'll never taste it. So yeah, blue
Yeah.
raspberry is a fascinating flavor on multiple levels.
I'm an idiot, but yeah, you just made me realize blue raspberries aren't real. What the fuck?
Yeah, it is an incredible
I didn't even know where to come up with it.
yeah,
To be
it's just
honest.
a fantasy invention that was like it's like the fire was delivered from the mountaintop to us. I don't know how we have I don't know how we have this fucking idea, this completely artificial thing, but it's truly magical. It's
It's
truly something
actually
else.
better than all the rest.
Man, yeah. So I just had to shout that out. And honestly, just reading Strawberry Lemonade and Give Up the Ghost tickled some of the same some of the same nerve endings. Just reading that.
Yeah, I'm
Um,
gonna have to make a note. Next book, add Hoppo drinking blue raspberry. It's fucking.
yeah, dude, you gotta, you absolutely got to, because
Ascension.
yeah, I'll be sure to double down in my next release. And shout
Hell
out
yeah.
to Outcast Press for publishing a book called Blue Raspberry last year. Actually, that's all about it's all about like nostalgia and stuff like that. So we got to keep the trend alive. We got to keep it alive and going. Um,
Hell yeah.
yeah, my last kind of thing I wanted to ask you about was you recorded a narration of you reading the short story The Boy, the Mole, the Fox, and the Horse.
Yes.
And I was just wondering if you could maybe kind of explain the personal reverence that story has for you, and why you decided to record it, and then yeah.
Yeah, man. Well, I don't know. I have no idea when that book actually came out, like the original. I don't think it's that old. Maybe it is. I honestly have no idea. Do you know?
Let me look it up. um, it says 2019.
Okay, yeah. Okay. I didn't think it was that old.
Yeah.
Um, and they just released the second one. I think it's called The Boy, the Fox, Mole, the Fox, and the Horse, and it's called Always Remember. And so I bought them for my kids. I read to my kids every night, and I bought both of those books. And I didn't know anything about them. I just heard a lot about it, and I flipped through them. And the artwork is gorgeous. I mean, they are gorgeous children's books. Um, and and I have a measure for society and for books and for anything involving children, and whether or not I think it's appropriate or be like something special, which is Winnie the Pooh. And the English, or the British, more than anyone else except maybe the Japanese, the French get there. Um, they are so good at capturing the innocent mindset of a kid, and it's one of our modern times greatest tragedy, maybe the greatest tragedy, is how we've stolen innocence away from children. And and so I read through that, and I flipped through it and sort of, read a few passages, and it was the only book that I've witnessed in modernity, especially for kids. Like they got even close to that sensibility that something like Winnie the Pooh gave me. And so I read it to my kids that night, and my wife heard it, and she said that she thought that the reading was actually like really beautiful. Um, and so then I was like, okay, well, maybe people would like it, because a lot of people have told me to do like an audio book for Give Up the Ghost and stuff. Like they said, I'm pretty decent at reading stuff.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah.
Um, and so I put like a little poll on Twitter, just asking if people would like that, and they did. And so then I read through the book, and tried to give it as much. And I had my intended audience, because I had heard about, who was it? I think it was somebody I hate. So some public facing character, right wing conservative thing, talked about how like they would actually use tablets to read their kids stories.
Mm.
And so my idea was, while reading it, my intended audience was just in case that there was some poor kid out there that they're somehow their parent like found me online, and rather than read to Give Up the Ghost, ended up playing the boy, the mole, the fox, and the horse for their kid to go to sleep to. um and so I read it, and I became a really big fan of like video edits, like when I was trying to think of how to like promote Give Up the Ghost. So I just started making movies that could kind of stand on their own, even though like at the end they were kind of like, here's a book that exists. They were supposed to be like art in their own mind, in their own right. And so I tried to make it beautiful, try to capture the same sort of feeling that the English children's books have given me in my life. And then I posted it, and yeah, that's that, man.
Oh yeah.
Well, that's awesome. Yeah, I thought I thought you did a very good job, and you do have a knack for that, and immersing people into the storytelling, because you also uh, I think around that, yeah, way earlier actually, you did a narration of the baseball scene from Give Up the Ghost, and that was just
Yep,
as immersive.
yep.
Well, you know, when you have your first kid, Jesse, this has to be the first book you have to read to them now.
Yeah, I know. I'm gonna play the P.C.M. Christ recording.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Don't plan to Give Up the Ghost audiobook.
And then the hermaphroditic obese bitch got stuck in the head.
Right? And then they strung them up.
All right,
That
nighty night.
that is like a fairy tale, isn't it? Like the original Hansel and Gretel fairy tales or whatever. You just string them up.
Yeah, they
Yeah,
kicked her in the oven, I think.
Yeah. So
the real Grimm's fairy tales.
real Grimm's fairy tales. All right. I
Right, right.
think that's it. Right. So thanks so much for coming on, P.C.M. Christ, dude. It was fucking awesome. You know.
Yeah, we really
Yeah,
appreciate you coming on, man. Yeah, love picking your brain. Love getting you to ramble.
Yeah.
man, that was awesome, man. I appreciate it. I
We gotta
really
do.
do.
We
Like
gotta
to be able
do.
to like meet people that are willing to go there, and like just talk about all over the place, man. It was a joy. This was fantastic.
Bro, can't wait. All right.
Yeah,
Well,
definitely gotta do it again. Yep.
yeah, we gotta. All right. I'm King Cringe. Buy Hate Spree. They're on Amazon 1 and 2. I'm just working on new stuff now, so yeah. Wait for that another year, Jesse.
Jesse Larkins. You can buy my book, Soap Scum. I am writing new stuff. I do have an extra side show called Rape Walker US, where I talk about films and other art related shit. I do that live on X, so enjoy that. Enjoy that. Tune into that if you're needing some extra SS content. Christ, Christ.
The second person in history to actually call me Christ. The other one was way back in the day. His name was a Moldbug Man. Every time we talked online, he would call me Christ. Taking me back.
A pod with
Um,
King and Christ on.
Let's go.
oh, should I shill?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Just
shill,
take
baby.
us home.
Yep.
All right. I'm on X at Please Call Me Christ, and that's PLZ for please. Substack, Please Call Me Christ, same thing. .substack.com. I just released as the aforementioned Wicked Part 2 Gonzo. About a year ago, I won first place for the Man's World Pulp Fiction contest. Well, this is the first public announcement, so that's cool. And that is actually I'm going. The time limit's over, whatever. So I'm actually going to be releasing the story in full on my Substack in a couple weeks. So that will be available. I got one last Gonzo piece coming for now, and another book in the works, like conceptually, and a little bit into it. So yeah, but anyone who's interested in my work, Substack is the way to go. I'm not much of a poster, but X is where you can find some of my other stuff.